Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. And this is the chill zone. As you can hear, I'm very chilled and stuff. No, I'm not. I'm gonna chill it. I'm only messing. How are you? Hope you are all doing well. We're gonna have a special guest joining us tonight, as you can see by the title with the guests that we have. So, of course, we have the one and only Queen Charlotte, who's going to be joining us. We're going to have PD Rich, who just says, "Give him a second there." I've just finished that email. He's sending off an email. He's busy right now, but he will be joining us. And in 10 to 15 minutes' time, we will have on Rabbi from another planet. And it's been a while since we had him on the channel. And I thought, we're doing a chill zone. Rabbi, bringing Rabbi on makes sense because we'll all have a laugh. So, and that's what these streams are all about. And I know there's a few people out there right now that are a bit fed up and peed off with stuff that's going on in the real world, but also going on social media and stuff, because there's a certain person that just won't leave anybody alone. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that I've been told. So, today I want to try and make this stream as fun as possible. And hopefully we could do that for you. But we definitely will be chilled. We're not here to have any rants or anything like that. That's not what these streams are for. Now, as you all know, because I've been deciding what to do with Mondays now that Mondays are now free, I was thinking maybe we do, obviously not another chill zone, but maybe on Mondays bring Queen Charlotte, the usual panel, and maybe then bring on some special guests with us on Monday, and we just have a natter about all sorts of things and all of that, whatever anybody wants to talk about. It's a bit like this one. Maybe we should read now. I don't know, man. Maybe we just call the two of them the chill zone or whatever. I don't know, but I want to fill that gap. So we're streaming the days that we're supposed to. But without further ado, because I've done enough talking, because I'm not alone. We've already got one guest waiting in the studio, so we'll bring them on while we're waiting on the two lads. It's always the lads that are late. Do you always notice how women are always punctual? Well, Queen Charlotte definitely is, and the lads are never punctual. But here she is. It's the one and only.
Hello, everybody. How am I sounding?
Oh, you're sounding very, very good and clear, because Charlotte is using the new laptop today, folks.
I have tech upgrade, folks. So hopefully this is now what I'm going to sound like.
Fantastic. You actually sound pretty normal. So there you go. That's something, isn't it?
Well, I thought I was going to test it off a streamer, and I thought, you know what? This is a good one to choose it, to test it out.
Yeah, this will be best place to try it out, actually, because we're just going to have a laugh here. It's not too serious.
That's what I thought.
So, that way, yeah, it does. Absolutely fantastic. I forgot you did a live stream today. I've seen the new teaser for the Doctor Who 6. Of course, that did pop up, and of course, obviously, we got the panel on. We're gonna have to obviously cover that, but it won't be as serious as the way we normally cover it. There wasn't too much, but I do have a theory that all of these trailers are either in order, or we have to put them in order, play them backwards and forwards and all of that people have been doing with the trailers to understand the whole lot. I reckon you put those teasers together in some sort of order, you're going to get a clearer picture. So if there's any of the J-bots out there that are listening, I know you guys love doing all of that. There's a theory: get all those teasers together, right? Rearrange them, right? And put them in different combinations. Play it backwards, play it forwards, whatever you need to do. Freeze frame it, all of this, and you might get more clues because you are good at that. I will say that you are good at dissecting all that, even though some of these are theories that come out of it, they'll be stupid. But the actual getting all of this stuff and putting it together, you are very good at that. So maybe someone should put those teasers together. But we do have PD in the backstage, so we bring him on.
Yeah, I'm chilled. I'm chilled.
Good. Well, we're going to be chilling now in a minute because Rabbi is going to be on, and we know what happens when Rabbi is on. Absolute chaos.
Please make me laugh, Rabbi. Make me laugh.
So that's what I mean. That's why we're. How was your hand anyway, Noel? After what happened? Yeah, grand. Just want to hear what happened to me today. Today's accident, because I had another one. Yeah, I had another one today. This one involved the fork. So I was clearing away the dishes, and I accidentally knocked a fork off the plate, and the fork proceeded to fall off the counter, and it digged me right in the toe. So now one of my toes has a hole in it. I'm not messing. So I'm in Cheryl's in the bedroom, right, doing something, and all of a sudden she just hears this big scream, and I'm like, fuck! Right, I'm going, oh, you fucker! I'm giving up the fork. What's wrong with you? I says, the fork is at the jabbing me in the foot. She goes, well, you're gonna have to show me. And I'm like, no, don't take off me sock. And then I took off me sock and there was blood everywhere. So yeah, I don't know, man. I was saying it to even Cheryl today. I've noticed I'm tripping over stuff a lot more than I used to. Maybe at the old age is catching up on me or something, or I don't know, man. But it's starting to get mad paranoid now that something seriously wrong with me. I'm misbalancing and everything I am, like tripping over stuff.
See, I haven't got that excuse. I drop stuff all the time. Like when I'm at work, I'm terrible.
Yeah, I don't do that. See, that's the thing. I'm very Cheryl will tell you, like, I can balance things out, me bleeding head and everything. I mean, my coordination is great, but just over the last couple of weeks, I've just noticed that I'm banging into stuff. Fucking stuff is seriously. The cutlery in the kitchen is trying to murder me right now.
You've done something to it.
Because I'm telling you, first I slip and fall on the hob and burn my hand. Right, that was last week. And then now today, as I said, did a lovely dinner. I didn't put the photograph up. I'll put it up later. But I've been putting up the dinners that I've been making. But yeah, I got to move a plate and the fork jabs me in the foot. So, you know, either it's comedy gold or someone's trying to send me a message. But, you know, there you go. Let me see what have we got. How was that? Yeah, we did that one. Blimey, it must have been a heck of a fork. Well, it's a big fork. Big fork, you know. I mean, they're very heavy forks. So think about it. You've got 4 or 5 spikes on a fork, don't you? So if it falls down a certain way, trust me, it's still going to do damage to your...
Yeah, and it's got height. Anything with height to it that's got any sort of...
by the way, I should make clear that I wasn't wearing runners or shoes in the kitchen. I had my socks on.
Right? I do that all the time.
So, that's fine. I mean, yeah, because when I'm at home, I don't know about the rest of this, but when I'm at home, I put on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. If I know I'm not going anywhere, pair of shorts, t-shirt.
How did you know what I was wearing?
Right? And that's what I wear around the house, right?
I do the same thing. So when
I'm in the kitchen, obviously, you know, I should wear fucking shoes in the kitchen because that could fall in the kitchen, but like I'm so used to being in the kitchen and I thought it'd be fine, but obviously
do you know what?
not.
I'm worse than you, though. I don't wear socks when I'm in the house, and I go about bare feet.
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But no, Cheryl, I'm going to buy you a big padded pair of slippers.
Yeah, Cheryl. Cheryl gives out to me because I do walk barefoot quite a lot. And she says you need to put socks on, man. I'm like, all right, yeah. But she's right. If I hadn't got that sock on, it probably would have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
The worst that would have happened is I would have just gashed me little toe a little bit more, but I've got disinfectant stuff and all of that, so I've got medical stuff, so I was able to patch it up myself. But if I didn't, obviously I could have ended up in infecting the accident and emergency. Nothing too serious, maybe a couple of stitches or something. We got Dan from the Space Book in the chat as well in the Warped Eyebrow. Don't drop Lego in the Queen's presence.
I'll send you the great Lego one later.
Lego, I hate Lego.
I'll send you the Lego one.
It's used to love Lego as a kid, and then I don't know what it was, but I just got turned off Lego.
Do you know what my problem is? Do you know what my problem with Lego is? You could get better models from Airfix and Revel and AMT.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to buy them models and build them up myself.
More accurate,
stuff. I have the Airfix.
I tell you what, though. I don't know. Have you seen, like, obviously the professional builders? I don't know the proper term for them.
Oh, yeah, they're brilliant.
How do they do that? It's amazing, isn't it?
I know. The big Legoland, Legoland itself, if you were to go and visit that place, you'd be amazed of what they've done.
It's amazing.
I mean,
but I remember just going in the Trafford Centre, that there used to be a Lego shop, and you'd see massive things in the shop, like displays, and I never buy anything in there, but I'd always go just to see what was in the shop display wise.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
You're after sending me a photo, did you? Is this a photo I can throw up on screen, or is this a private photo you've just sent to me?
No, you can basically go public.
I mean, I don't mean as in private, as in it's something that nobody should see.
No,
I'm just saying,
it's not a dick pic or anything.
Is it just something? I know.
PD, what have you been sending?
Yeah, we don't do that sort of stuff. No, we actually don't. We're being serious.
I'm not a troll.
No.
Unlike, Dan, did you never go to Trafford Centre? There was one. I don't know if it's still there. There used to be one in Trafford in Manchester.
What, a Lego place?
Wow. You go in Trafford Centre and one of the shops was a Lego. And it was quite a big one. And like you'd go in and they'd always have a massive thing in the middle of it, like something that one of these builders had done. And they'd change it. So you like, if you'd not been for a while, you would see something new in the shop.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's my problem with Lego is it's great. Some of the models they make great, but you have to build them 3 times the size to get the detail in them.
Actually, I've got to throw this up because this is quite funny. Because it actually is true. If anybody's ever stood on some Lego, right? Lego is one of those things you do not want to stand on. Trust me.
It's lethal.
And there you go. Agony nipple, plastic bag, spite edge, and mortar cavity, and turkey service. It is true. That is Lego. And look, it even has instead of Lego, it has evil because it is evil. Lego is evil. It's fun, but if you stand on a Lego, which you used to do as a kid quite a lot, oh my God, it was the most painful thing. Seriously, man.
You don't step on it.
I find it fascinating, but like you, I'd probably never buy one. John the White is a Lego Yeti and knows everything about it. Jedi, you meant? Okay, ha. Horty. I mean, as a kid, I grew up and I built stuff out of Lego. I think we nearly all did.
See, my brother did. I didn't.
I had Pirates and Castle.
Yeah, except my brothers I built something and then they would deliberately, because they're little bastards. You know, when you have brothers or sisters, trust me, spiteful. You know, you build something and then they come along, kick it down. You know, I used to do the thing with the pack of cards and build the big triangle all the way up. I got right up into the top, the final card, and then the brother just comes in and went, boom.
Yeah, but you're asking for it, no, if you do that.
Yeah.
I know.
Big tall thing.
I suppose I do it as well, I suppose. You know. Yeah, well, sure. I used to be like that. You know, if I lose in games like Jenga or something like that, I just break the whole fucking thing. No.
Yeah.
I used to hate losing.
Sorry,
I'm not like that now. Well, I'm still very competitive when it comes to Monopoly.
Yeah.
That's why I don't play Monopoly anymore. Because I'm still very competitive. No, seriously, like I'm really competitive in that game. Like if you feel like you're screwing me over, I'm gonna tell you. Like you're playing games with me, don't play. I'm gonna buy all your stuff, you're gone.
So basically you're the person nobody wants to be the banker when they play.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I did, yeah. So I don't play that anymore. I mean, I haven't played it in years. I don't know if I'd still be as competitive, but I mean, you know, there was a time they had a Doctor Who one. It was a special edition in Eason's where I live, and I was saying, you know what, we should get that. And Sharon was like, no, because she knew straight away. Because even in, you know, anybody plays Monopoly, it's supposed to be a game, right? But it does get under your skin, and you want to win no matter what. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those. You say it's a family game. I call it the game that destroys families because it literally does. It literally does. Especially if you've got the families that take out the pretend money and use real money instead.
We never did that.
No, neither did I, thankfully. Because, you know, you had to go down that route, and I've seen it. Oh, it's awful. It's awful when someone loses all that money. And I'm not talking
the grudges you could get from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about like hundreds of euro or punt as it was at the time. We're looking at thousands. These fellas that were big time gamblers, gambled their money with their family or their family members. Madness.
The Game of Life was originally called the Checkered Game of Life.
Yeah, I used to love the Game of Life. They've changed it now. Apparently, you can play as non-binary and all that rubbish. We added that rubbish into it. So if you have the original Game of Life, I commend you, because that was my favorite board game. That believe it or not, Ludo.
Just thinking, mate. What about Woke Lottery? Oh my God, the cards would be funny.
you used to love Ludo as well, mate. Ludo. That game, I used to get competitive playing Ludo as well, actually. Jesus, actually thinking about it, I got very competitive during board games.
You managed to sue someone to get your pronouns wrong. Move 5 squares.
nobody could beat me at dominoes though or checkers in my family. I've always like it's funny. Like I got taught by my dad how to play these games, and I ended up being like unbeatable. Dominoes
No,
is a thinking game. It's not. Some people say it's luck. It's not. It's a thinking game. If you know what domino to put down at the time, you know it is hard to judge. But I can see patterns, and I kind of am able to suss out what dominoes other players have. So nobody likes playing me in dominoes, and the same with checkers or drafts, whatever you want to call it. I mean, nobody play me in that either. Because I love that game. I set people up all the time in that one.
See, me and my family were solitaire. We'd be like, we go on holiday.
Yeah.
It'd be all inclusive. And you'd always have to wait a bit for the entertainment to start. So we'd get a packet of cards and we just play card games on our table. And people would look at us like we were, what on earth are you doing? Because it was like, why have you got cards? But it was how we killed some time.
I mean, there you go. Dominoes was my granddad's game. That's what I mean. His dad used to play it, my dad played it. And then I remember sitting around as a family, we'd have domino nights. And we'd all play, like there'd be four of us at the time in the family. I think there was 4 of us at the time. And we'd sit around the table and play dominoes. And, you know, it was very, it could get very heated sometimes because, you know, nobody liked losing. Nobody liked losing. I mean, I don't know what it is with my family, but nobody liked losing board games or any sort of games like that. You know, and they taught me how to play dominoes, and then before you knew it, I was better than them all, and they just didn't want to play dominoes with me anymore. So, you know, I mean, it's not my fault. I can see patterns that you can't. That's why, again, same with poker. I don't play poker. I could go to a fucking casino, right? And it's not card counting because that's illegal and stuff like that. But I'm pretty feckin'. When I play poker, I'm pretty good. You know, I mean, it's not all about bluffing. Some people say it is, but it's not. There is a bit of luck involved, but you know, there is a science to all of this. I mean, you've had people crack the whole poker game. It's brilliant over the years. Some people using even 3 decks. You know, even playing 21. I mean, it is. If you, I don't know what it is. I could just see patterns, and I'm very good. I remember the lads brought me up poker one night, and I didn't want to really gamble because I'm not a gambler. I don't even do the horse racing, you know. And he said, "Go on, just give it a go. Give it a go." I says, "I'm not gambling my money, man. I just don't gamble." Ah, well, that's all right. You can gamble air money. I was like, okay, fair enough.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Oh no, it was grand.
Habit of a lifetime.
Well, it's grand. They all went out richer than they fucking came in. So like, job done. Job done, and I got
the luck of the Irish, my friend.
And I got a few quid off them as well. You know, so it wasn't too bad. But he's here. We got to bring him on. It's been a long time since he's been on. But if you've been following him on his YouTube channel, you know that he's been talking about Doctor Who and other stuff, and he does his little what does he call them? He calls them quickies instead of shorts, which I think is brilliant. I even said it to Cheryl there when he put his first quickie up. I said, you know what, that is so smart. Instead of calling it a YouTube short, he's called it a quickie. But we knew why he was calling it a quickie as well at the same time. But genius. But the man that came up with the new term for YouTube shorts, Mr. Quickie himself, Rabbi from another planet.
I've had that name for many years. Now, let me tell you, it's not the first time. Not the first time someone pointed this out. I have a world exclusive. I just figured something out. We've seen Shooty Gatwa in blue clothes, right? They just release some new pictures of a historical. He's in a blue outfit, I believe.
Yeah, he's blue pinstripe.
Right.
Suit, yeah.
And we've seen him in reddish orange outfits.
Yeah.
Now I remember back when in the 2005 series, in Doctor Who Confidential.
I know what you're going to say. One goes into the future and one goes into the past.
Exactly.
So you're thinking these clothes
the blue
are
goes into
indicating
the past because we know he's in the 60s one,
right?
And he's in the this historical one, and the orange goes into the future.
Right. Actually, I do want to talk to you about colours because it is interesting. Because we've seen all the photographs of the TARDIS with Shooty in it, and there's a purple background inside the TARDIS. Now, I think that's just lighting, but the theory is by fans out there that the TARDIS may change colours when he goes into the past and the future. Now, I think that's a naff idea. I think the clothes is a great idea, and it's a nice little subtle hint towards it, and I think that's the way it should be. But to have the TARDIS, now I know it's a fan theory, but I want to ask you this. Would you be in favour of the TARDIS change of colour when it's in the past and then when it goes to the future? Are you like me, think that's a bit naff? The clothes kind of does the trick, so leave it with the clothes.
It all depends, right? I mean, it all depends. Like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about different lighting? That sort of thing. I can be out. The trouble is with the TARDIS, we have no conception of what it's going to be like, right? Yeah. It's supposed to be huge. It's supposed to have drones in it to capture the performance. I can't conceive it. I have no idea what it's going to be like, and so it's like most of everything in this new era. I have no clue what to expect. I literally have no clue what to expect. See some stuff.
How are you feeling about a Rabbi? I mean, do you feel confident that RTD may be able to turn it around after the last 5 years we had?
Oh, he's able to. Is he going to? Is the question.
Yeah.
Good
I mean, if he.
Well, what do you think? Do you think
like the trans crap? Then yes.
Right. So you think yes if he's not doing the politic thing because we have seen certain recent castings that people have had an issue with, and let's be honest about it, because they're activists and they've made it clear they're activists, and some of them have been on social media and again haven't shown the best side of themselves. But could it be just that okay, maybe they're not going to do it on the main show, but if they do it on social media, fine. If it doesn't interfere with the main show, everything will be okay.
I think it's going to be the same. Essentially, it'll be the same as 2005, except they'll have more chicks with dicks. Essentially, there are much more chicks with dicks in the new era of Doctor Who. Right, that's the.
I knew this was going to happen, but you
were clever.
We needed this today.
I was going to say, but you were clever with the timings. You waited, what is it, for 10 minutes? Until you can say certain words.
There you go.
Yeah, you're following the rules.
He's following the rules.
You never know when a chick with dick is going to come out of my mouth. That could have been any time, baby. There is no clock. To. By the way, no, you've got to get yourself on Rumble, right? Rumble is the place to be. I have a tiny channel on Rumble. It just grew about 100% over the last month because I really focus on it. But,
I'm about to set up a Rumble. Because I put a poll up and everybody said yes. So I said, you know what, feck it. So I will be setting up a Rumble because I'll be going on Rumble, not under the TARDIS Zone. I'll be going under my own name. Because I think that's
totally stream onto Rumble. I get 3 or 4 times the views on Rumble than I do on YouTube. Like YouTube's my backup now.
Yeah, but it's sad though, isn't it? Because YouTube, let's be honest, right? You'll even admit this yourself.
Yeah. YouTube
is the superior platform.
Oh yeah.
That
drives me freaking nuts. Yeah, that drives me freaking nuts with Rumble. Like, I'm like, they're good for me. They help me. And then, you can't get the app in England or some stupid, this doesn't work or that doesn't work. I'm like,
they're behind time.
You've got to be as good, right? You've got to be as. That's why Tucker Carlson signing up to Twitter is big.
I think that's huge, but because you know what's going to happen now. In the next couple of years, YouTube or Twitter is going to transition from what it is now to basically what YouTube is, except it'll have the extra benefit of having the way it is now. So he's going to basically allow people, as we've seen, he's going to allow people now to make money. And unlike YouTube as well, he's only going to take 10% after a year, though. After a year that you're on his platform doing videos, he will take absolutely nothing off you. After the year, he only takes 10%. Now, YouTube takes 23%, and then the Irish government or something, because they do a deal, takes an extra couple of % off that as well. So by the time you add up all the percentage, 47% of your revenue is taken away by YouTube and the other little parts that go with it before you get any money. So what Elon is actually doing, and to even do it for a year, which I think is too much time, but the fact that he's doing it for a year puts him in prime position now to make Twitter better. Basically, this is what he wanted anyway. He wants Twitter. He's going to call it. Yeah, Twitter's going to be renamed X or something like that. Cool. He has a new name, and it's going to be a multi-platform thing.
What's the new name?
I think he's going to call it X or something, the X app or something like that. It's going to be a multi-platform app. It's going to basically be like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. It's going to be amalgamation of them all, but as one app.
On WeChat. WeChat is a Chinese app which has everything built.
Yeah, so he's trying to do that, a version of that in America. Now, if he succeeds, it will make it'll make Twitter actually the biggest platform on the planet, and then it will force YouTube and all of these other sites that are censoring people to reevaluate the way they do business, because YouTube, believe it or not, are losing business. This is why they never finished Cobra Kai on YouTube, and it was taken over by Netflix or bought by Netflix, because YouTube just don't have the money or the resources to do what, say, Netflix do or other streaming platforms like that.
It's criminal that they don't. It's
they should though. That's the thing, Rabbi. They should, because the YouTube is probably one of the first, if not the first streaming.
They piss away money at these social media companies. It must spot 80%. It was fine. It was actually better. Right? They piss away money on people who shouldn't have jobs.
Do you know what? This is the problem. YouTube has forgotten who made that platform. Yeah. It's people like Charlotte, people like you, people like me, those early pioneers, right? They're called pioneers for me, but those early people that were putting up stupid videos of watching pigeons or whatever it was, made that app. Now they've said, oh, do you know what? You guys don't matter anymore. Do you know what matters to us? The commercial guys, the big companies. Well, they're the ones now.
You know what I think it is? There is a deep state world, right? Essentially, the CIA runs everything, right? So, basically, when people from the CIA, the FBI coming to you at YouTube, and telling you to ban this person or do that, you're going to do it, and you're going to feel good about it, right? They are insanely embedded in every social media.
We've seen that lately. Yeah, we've seen the expose. Oh, yeah. I mean, Twitter was the biggest culprit of them all.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing that's most startling about this is that, we've only got ourselves to blame. And I'll tell you why. It's quite simple. When Mark Zuckerberg set up Facebook, right? When it went a global thing, people were willing to give their information, right? We were willing to give our information. Yeah. We were willing to put our photographs up. So we made it easier for all of these, like the FBI all of these. So we're kind of responsible in the first place. The social media apps just took advantage of it, but then when we found out they were actually selling our data or giving our private details to these companies, so they'd fill our fucking Facebook and YouTube with ads that were specifically designed to attract us, then I have a problem. You don't share our data. We did not give you the right share data, but this is the thing. If you read the third party or the terms of service, they literally tell you that that's what they do.
The FBI and CIA working for them, and MI5 and all the other weirdos they knew in Oxbridge and in Eton, in between slamming their dicks in each other's drawers. They got jobs in these places. They are weird people.
Do you know what I do to get around this? I click on random ads on YouTube. On Facebook. So they start getting a weird kind of picture of me, like I'm looking for weird random stuff. Oh, I'm looking for garden furniture. I can't stand gardening.
Have you ever noticed as well, right? This is actually true, right? So we're talking on here now, right? Right? My phone is listening to me, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you go in then, right? So say we're talking about a specific thing. So I'll talk about beaches and all of a sudden on Facebook or on Twitter, right? When you go in, right? You'll then see all of these ads for cut price holidays and all of this. It's been going on for years, man. They've been spying on all of us.
You know what's even freakier?
Yeah. See Luther? Sorry, go ahead, Charlotte.
I'd say what's even freakier, like we used to it on those, but now it's stuff that you're not used to doing it. Like you can be talking about, I might buy this, and then suddenly
it shows up somewhere.
Your fridge is freaking spying on you.
And do you remember you used to think it was a coincidence because, you used to think it was a coincidence at first, but then it was happening so often, then you would be like, nah, this is not a coincidence. And nothing, someone said, I don't know who it was, but they said, nothing is ever a coincidence. There are no coincidences. Ugh, couldn't say that word. But there are none, right?
Yeah.
Everything is pre-planned, pre-thought. Everything is, trust me, there's no coincidences out there. None. But,
I'm starting to just believe that essentially behind closed doors, every politician is raping and eating children. Right? That's like
pretty much
the worst thing you could put, like whatever it is, the worst thing you can imagine.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that. I wanted to keep this chilled, but I'm not being. I watched a documentary today. It's called The Dark Side of Britain. Jimmy Savile, The Ninth Circle.
No! I don't know.
Now, if you were to believe this documentary, right? I'm just going to mention names, but we have to be careful with using the word that you just used there, Rabbi. So if you could use grape, that would be absolutely fantastic. We might get away with that one, but we won't get away with it again. But if the documentary is to be believed, Rabbi, and everybody, then Pope Francis, Pope Benedict, David Cameron, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, Jimmy Savile, Cliff Richard, President Obama.
No, not Cliff.
President Obama. Who else was there? This is a worldwide thing. Like this documentary just shows you all of the politicians actually just in the UK, Labour and Conservative, and they put all the details of what these politicians were charged with and what they had done. If this documentary is to be believed, then this whole international thing, we've heard of Pizzagate and all of that other stuff, this reaches the higher echelons of society, as far up as the Queen. Now, what people don't know is, and I only found this out today, well, I kind of knew, I heard stuff about this, but I didn't know it was true, but I've checked it up and it is true. There was actually an international, and still is, now she's passed away, but there was an international arrest warrant for the Pope, and for Pope Benedict and for Queen Elizabeth II.
Wow.
When Queen Elizabeth II went to, it was, where did she go? It was either Australia or Canada. They brought 10 kids on a picnic, and those 10 kids never returned back and have never been seen.
What?
So what happened? What happened was actually you can actually go and look at the international arrest warrant for the Queen. There is one. Go and Google it right now while I'm talking.
Rabbi's doing it.
There is an international arrest warrant for Queen Elizabeth. She also apparently there's an island that they own called Jersey Island. It's got a population at the time when they were talking about this in the 90s of 90,000 people. Yet this country generates so much money that with the population that it has, it makes no sense. Now, this island is connected along with all of the other islands that other people had. But there was an international arrest warrant for Queen Elizabeth and the Pope. An international court sent them out. So an international court found her. this is the thing. She never went back to the country where those kids went missing because apparently they also, as soon as she stepped inside the country, could arrest her. Now, I don't know if it's true, but there has been, but I will say this, the documentary did highlight one thing. Every single person that the Queen knighted ended up being exposed as one of those dirty people that do stuff to kids, right? Every single one of them. Jimmy Savile was knighted. Rolf Harris was knighted. I don't know about what's his face, Gary Glitter. I'm pretty sure he was knighted as well. But anybody, any politician, entertainer that was knighted by the Queen, not everyone, sorry, but most of them that have, after Jimmy Savile died, they did the investigation. I don't think people, you British people, have actually really looked into that, but you should, because if it's true, the paedophile ring was right inside the heart of 10 Downing Street, your power of government.
I mean, I mean, that bit sounds believable, I have to tell you. So, yeah, this place says, I don't know who they are, AAP fact checker. They may be full of crap, right? They probably are. So they work on legal fiction. So I don't know what to tell you. That's the trouble with the world we live in today, right? This is really the trouble with the world we live in today. You don't know what up or down, what's real or what isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, look, do I believe they're all incredibly corrupt and evil? Yes. Yeah, that seems to be the case, right? They seem to be.
Look, I do believe. Look. The Epstein thing should have blown it wide open. Here's another conspiracy theory, right? Which could hold some weight. You all remember the journalist Jill Dando who was killed outside our home. Well, apparently the reason why she was killed, and they've actually done this on documentaries on other channels, so they even suspect there might be something. But apparently she was about to break the story and break this whole ring, and obviously she was silenced, and nothing ever came of it. And this was before it was known about, well, it was known about Jimmy Savile in celebrity circles, but it wasn't known to the public. And she was about to break the whole lot before it actually ended up breaking. I think Jimmy Savile went on, when did Jill Dando die? The mid-90s. And Savile was found out in 2008 or something, now. Or 06 or something. So he was able to go on for another 10, 15 years anyway. But apparently the thing is that she was going to break the whole lot. It was going to lead to it was going to basically, no parts of society in Britain was untouched by this. So it went from the church to government to celebrity.
I mean, honestly, that certainly seems to be the case in America. See, they just seem to be very, very, very into that.
Do you know how many kids? You know how many kids go missing in Great Britain every 3 minutes?
I don't know.
Well, in this documentary, it said over 300 kids are taken every 3 minutes in the UK.
That's one of the most disturbing things about the Biden government. All these everything has resulted in there being a greater supply of children easier to have sex with. Like, you've got this immigration policy of all these kids being shipped in the middle of the night throughout the country unaccountably, right? You've got the economic policy. People do weird things for money. You've got this weird education policy that says, okay, kids, just put this in your mouth. It'll make you a grown-up, right? There's that. And, entertainment. Everything is about stopping kids. Like, literally everything is like, dude, can you just roll it back a little?
Yeah. Here it is. In the United Kingdom, an estimated 112,853 children are reported missing every year. Now, out of those kids that are missing, that go missing every year, only where was it? I have it here. What's the percentage? Here we go. No, that's not it. Actually, I thought I had the percentage there. Hang on, I'll get it now. But 112,853 kids go missing every year in the UK. Right, that's a lot.
Oh, it is scary.
Now, in our country, look, our country is not untouched by this. There's been cases even as far back as the 50s and 60s where kids have disappeared.
It's been a thing for ages. That's why it was. I was saying earlier, you know, I was streaming earlier. I was talking about Jinx Monsoon. I had no problem with any of this stuff before Drag Queen Story Hour. Like, I was totally fine with that. This was fun. But like, once you start mixing kids and stuff, it gets.
Here's a question someone asked online. It's a valid question. Valid question. Why don't these drag queens do story time for the old age pensioners that are lonely and stuff, and need company?
They don't need encouragement. They'll do it for anyone. Yeah, I worked out. This is what we need to do to fix society, right? In every movie, in every TV show, and everything, you need to stop every 15 minutes and say to trans people, like everybody, everybody just looks at them and say, "We see you. You look fantastic. Yeah. You're wonderful." And then everybody, every 15 minutes, gives them a round of applause, right? Then they'll just shut up. Then they'll be seen, right? Then they'll be seen. This is a clip I found from.
Actually, Jinx and other drag queens have been told when they go to the MTV, MTV movie awards, that they've been gagged. They've been told that they can't go up and talk about any of this stuff or have any complaints and complain about the fact that there is a pushback against
someone's mobilizing
story time. So whoever it is within MTV has gagged them and said that they can't go up on stage. Now, we know some of them are going to try because, these celebrities like to think they're rebels. But if one of these celebrities do break what the MTV Music Awards have said, there should be some punishment. The reason why we've got to set an example. There is a pushback against this, and rightly so, right? As Rabbi said, nobody gave two craps about drag queens, right, or anything like that until they start wanting to tell stories to kids. Now, I'm not tainting all drag queens here, right? And there's different sorts of drag as well. But I'm not saying that every single drag queen that goes to these story times is someone bad. But the clothes that they wear, the way they carry themselves is not children's entertainment. It's not, right? And it shouldn't be classed or be normalized as family or children's entertainment. Drag has its place. And that's not a bad thing. Right, drag should be kept in the category, and then some people bring up, but you have no problem with panto. Panto's a different sort of drag. See, this is the thing that you do, all of you people on the left do, right? You don't distinguish between any of them, but you should, because there is distinctly different. Right? If you've been to a drag show, trust me, the behavior that goes on in a drag show does not happen at pantomime. I can tell you that because I've been at both. Right, I DJ'd at drag shows. Okay, drag shows is not family entertainment and never will be. Right, it's for adults. Right, to have a good time, piss up. Right, a few beers and have a laugh. That's it.
Firstly, I want a virtual reality game where you're DJing a drag show. That sounds like the most awesome setting ever. Right, ever. Secondly, if you can pull up the other clip, this is currently on Jinx's social media, this story, and I feel this is inappropriate to be directed to kids. Not this clip, it's the other clip.
You're talking about the clip where Jinx Monsoon thought it was appropriate to say that someone left a condom up inside them.
Up their ass, yeah, exactly. I mean, really?
I know.
That's crazy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Jinx is entitled to do that interview, right, and say whatever they want. The problem that I have is that you're working for Doctor Who right now, and right now projects like that should be put on hold until after you've left the show.
And you're being very high profile, right? It's not like you're being subtle about working for Doctor Who. Like
no, they made such a song and dance about her. Like they made it in your face.
Anyway, no, do you want to watch this?
Well, you put it up. Will I don't know. Will I get demonetized though?
No, I don't think
I'm probably already demonetized for what we're speaking about because YouTube doesn't like us speaking about all of this stuff.
Conspiracy.
But at the end of the day, you know, we're talking about stuff that's already out there in the mainstream media, and if you've actually, you know, looked into the investigations that have been done all over the place, you know, there's nothing that I haven't said that hasn't already been spoken about. And as for Jinx here, all I'm just going to say to Jinx is now it's time to get your head down. You are brought in to do a role. Do that role. Give us your best, and we'll judge you then. But I have to say, you're not doing yourself any favors with these little snippets, and I'm pretty sure this one is bad if Rabbi is putting it up.
It's not so bad. It's fine. It's actually funny. It's just
right. Go on, then. Play it for us. Players, right? So we're playing it
back from the UK.
Right.
That's a UK song. So I don't know if anyone here is British, so sorry if you're feeling really like called out right now. But they do this thing where they, instead of hello, like a decent person would say to someone on the street, instead of saying like, hello, how are you? They go, you okay? You all right?
Depends what part of the country you're in, really.
And as an alcoholic, that is like really triggering. To just start a conversation like that? You okay? You don't know me! You don't know what I did last night!
It's just like, it's funny. It's just like,
no, she is funny in that
family entertainment. What do you want out of me?
Yeah.
Although, I'd say, have you seen the clip of Shooty doing Shakespeare?
Oh, God.
Oh, I watched it on the night.
Oh, dear.
That didn't thrill me. I have to tell you, I was like,
no, I haven't watched it. I recorded it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I haven't heard many good things about it, which makes me very fearful when I do watch it, because I was really hoping that whatever he was doing at the coronation would show him in a good light.
Everybody loved it. Everybody showered him with praise for it. But I saw it, I was like, what?
Is it bad? Well, I'll watch it myself, but is it? It's
not a drama critic. I thought it was bad.
I mean, what was bad about it? He was doing, what was he doing? Shakespeare, wasn't he? Was it Romeo and Juliet? What was he doing?
Here we go.
Well, I was going to say, I think, honestly, the setup didn't help a little bit.
No.
Because it wasn't just him on stage. It was him, and then it would go to some dancing. Then it'd go back to him, then a bit more dancing. It was a bit of an odd setup, wasn't it, Rabbi?
Right, go on. Whack it on then. Because I recorded it, but this is the only part I was going to watch anyway. I'm not going to be sitting down watching no coronation concert. I'm Irish. Why would
I'll be with my little flag about one, but I don't want with me. Anyway, yeah, so look, it's looked like firstly, yeah, it's all weird. The music is weird. Everything is weird. Like, Juliet is like a weird fat chick. I don't really get any of this, right? So
hold on. Yeah, well, so it's Romeo and Juliet, but it's been wokeified, is what you're telling me.
I'm not sure. Is it been woke or is it just shit? I can't tell.
Right, but Romeo and Juliet, Romeo and Juliet were white.
Okay, here you go. But like you try, just listen to him. Here he goes.
Probably Mediterranean.
To blushing pilgrims ready
Italy.
stand, to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hands too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss.
That's what I mean. Now we've got dancing. With singing, it was loads of things all at once.
It's weird.
Well, I mean, I mean, his performance. I mean, it was a couple of seconds. I mean, they can't really judge him.
I think I got another one. One second, let me find it.
We can't really judge him on that, but he looked okay to me there. I mean, the rest of it looked a bit naff.
Is this over here?
It was like it's like watching TV drama actors trying to do Shakespeare.
It really was. That's what it was.
Feeling,
it was
horrible
weird.
Feeling. Knowing stage actors.
No, Romeo and Juliet was Gobby Guy. They were doing Shakespeare.
Yeah. No, what it was, Gobby, the whole idea was it was this idea of the Royal Shakespeare older schools. So you had the Royal Music University for Shakespeare, you had the Shakespeare Royal Company, and you had the orchestra. Yeah. So it was West Side, which was a bit odd.
Yeah. And then they had Shooty then, because obviously Shooty worked in theatre before.
Yes.
He became...
Are you
worked
sure?
with them, I think.
So, no, he's worked for Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yeah.
That's why he was there.
So that's why he was there. So, I mean, look, they obviously believe he's a great talent. I mean, we've seen some of his videos. He comes across a very funny guy, a likable guy. But you know, he has big boots. He has big boots to fill because you know, Peter Capaldi's doctor is a hard act to follow because you know he doesn't need to try beat Jodie Whittaker. He already has even before he's even been on screen. So the act that he has to follow up is Peter Capaldi, in my opinion, and Peter Capaldi is considered by most of us here on this panel anyway to be one of the best doctors, if not the best. Well, that could be pushing it a little bit for some, but I could certainly consider him part of the Holy Trinity, which is Pertwee, Baker, and Capaldi. So I hold him in that same regard as those two doctors. Yes, he mightn't have the better stories. He has some great stories, Capaldi. A lot of it is trash. Let's not be.
Yeah, he needed another 3 seasons.
He did, but as the doctor, he was brilliant. So he has big boots to fill, and they're Peter Capaldi's. He doesn't need to fill Jodie Whittaker's because you know he's already won the fandom over even before he's even been on screen. Look, I think he'll be fine as the doctor. The main thing for me and the focus actually is RTD and will he be able to reproduce what he did last time. Obviously, we want to see something new and fresh, but will he stick to the way he's always done Doctor Who and believes that Doctor Who is different to other shows that he's wrote for, right? And will he stick to that?
Retcon away the Jodie era?
I would love him to do it. And you know what? With this whole David Tennant thing, because there's some things that are just not making sense with this. You could easily use this whole 60th anniversary to retcon or to do something with that universe that Jodie's in. Because remember, if RTD is continuing from where where Chibnall's point of view is, well then Gallifrey is destroyed. Half of the universe is also destroyed, right?
Yeah,
there's no
I think that's the Toymaker's universe. I think they've been in it since she fell out the TARDIS in the first episode.
I agree. I agree. That would make a lot. Yeah, I think that would be it still preserve her era, but within a bubble. And I'd have no fucking problem with that. And the J-Bots can sing our praises all they want then.
Exactly.
But once she's away from the main child, that's the way they should do it. Like what James Gunn is doing. Maybe he took inspiration from James Gunn. Maybe he is putting it because he calls the Elseworlds or whatever he has now for the movies that he doesn't count anymore. He could do the same with Doctor Who. Put that era in its own little bubble and leave a feckin' there. And never ever burst that bubble. Never ever burst that bubble though. Leave it there. Don't have any of the characters from that era bleed through into his new era. Because if you do, then that's the illusion broken. As soon as you bring one of those characters back, which means, unfortunately, bye-bye, Sacha Dhawan. Sorry, nice knowing you as the Master. I thought you were great in a bad era, but you're gone.
Oh, right? I thought a way they could bring him in. They could say, you know, like the Toymaker's realm reflected the the real realm, right? And he was a master that we didn't know about.
I don't know if people would buy
See,
that.
I think Russell's going to cast a new master. I've thought this for ages.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think you're probably
I
right.
think for the 60th, he's hiding the master and he's going to be there.
I
But
don't
we're not gonna
know.
know.
I think we already know who the master is.
Who?
See, everybody's speculating that Jinx Monsoon is another version of maybe the Celestial Toymaker or the Rani or people like that. But what if she's the new Missy?
I don't think so.
No, I don't see it.
Why not? Well, they did it with Michelle Gomez. I mean, she comes across as funny. I haven't seen her in anything else now, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, but it's too arch. So like the master is a real threat. Yeah, even when she's being wacky, it's a real threat. There's no way Jinx Monsoon plays it as a real threat. It's a comedy character.
Well, I don't know because they have said it's the Doctor's greatest villain.
Yeah, he says
but he also said that about the Celestial Toymaker.
He keeps saying this is the biggest ever, the greatest ever. It's Rusty Davis. That's what he does.
Gobby says though, if Jinx is the master, I'm done. And Bobby thinks it's the Celestial Toymaker in female form.
By the way, Celestial Toymaker was the story where they're going to recast Hartnell, right?
Oh,
they're going to I reckon they're going to do something similar with this. I think they're going to take off his mask and it'll be shooty underneath.
Well, look, I don't really give a crap, but if the Jodie era is in some way disconnected from what the show before gets disconnected and we move on from it, then that's all I want. I think a lot of fans as well have said a retcon or something will bring them back. I don't think he'll do a full retcon because it will be disrespectful, but he'll find a way of putting it in its own little bubble. And I think that's the way to do it. It doesn't tarnish Jodie Whittaker and the fans that actually love that era. I know there's only a few of them, but let's be honest, she still does have fans of that era. Whether we like them or not, she does have fans. So I won't disrespect them. They might kick and scream for a little bit, mightn't like the idea of it. But at the end of the day, she's still there. But she's just part of our own little imaginary bubble universe or whatever you want to bleed and do with it. But just leave it there. You cannot have any of the baggage that came with the Whittaker era bleeding into the RTD's era.
It destroyed all of Doctor Who. And that's why I think it's going. There's no way you keep all the ramifications of the Jodie era. Like, again, they thought the destruction of 3/4 of reality.
Do you know what, Gabby? I would have agreed with you. I would have agreed with you before seeing Star Trek Picard Season 3.
There you go. They raised the game. Picard raised the game for Doctor Who. Big
See that, and he actually mentioned didn't RTD recently mention Star Trek as well, saying how something about Picard. I'm being honest. Before Picard Season 3, I would have agreed with you. I'm not so sure now. They don't even have to do. I mean, it was one line in Picard is all it took, and it wasn't. Nobody really kind of went under the radar a little bit until YouTubers start actually pointing it out. But there was a line. I have to watch it again, man. But apparently there's a line in I think it's episode maybe 8 or 9. There's a reference to something that totally, well, not totally retcons it completely, but this is why Discovery is gone. Discovery is finished now. I think.
What did it retcon?
They it was something that they did in Discovery.
Oh, here we go. Robert Payne's put something in the chat.
Robert, we haven't seen. Yeah, that sounds. I bet that's right.
Could be about the Borg.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to go back. I've seen YouTubers talk about it. I when I was watching Picard, I was just so in awe of what they gave.
Yeah. Every minute that was awesome.
Listen, that show was brilliant. I mean, we tried. Remember, Rabbi, back in the day, we got as far as season 1, didn't we, of Picard? We reviewed it each week, if you remember, and it was fucking awful. Do you remember we didn't even want to do season 2, and I think we gave up on season 2. It was that bad.
I think I finished it because I got through to Wesley. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was good. I was like, Not just good, the best Star Trek I've ever seen. It is
ages, since Enterprise.
And I rewatched. I started rewatching Strange New Worlds again in preparation for the next season. It's made that better too. It's made everything better. Don't make Star Trek the Academy that piece of shit. No. The Tilly Adventures.
Yeah, it does have a few. Yeah, I mean, Picard season 3 does have a little few issues. Nobody's going to deny that. But at the end of the day,
Eldor, thank God.
But at the end of the day, though, if we're judging it as a sci-fi show within the Trek universe, you would have to say that, you know, if you look at all the other shows that they've done, that this is actually, you know, if you had to start, I say this, right? If season 3 Picard was the start of the whole Trek franchise, right? Forget about Discovery. Discovery was never done. And they started off season 1 with the Next Generation crew, and then it spawned all of these spin-offs. We would have been in a much better place. I think Discovery, in fairness, has actually, you know, destroyed a lot. And this is why there was a lot of fans skeptical about going into Picard season 3 because of Discovery in the first 2 seasons. But it is hard to ignore. I'm not going to lie, it is hard to ignore those other shows. But if you can, and you go in with an open mind, and you are right, there are a few issues, and they did use member berries to cover some stuff, but the member berries were so good, and it wasn't done for any cheap.
Yeah, I don't think they were member bearers. Member bearers is when you don't know what to do, and so you throw in something like that. Like if it was the season, the Colin Baker season, they bought the Blu-ray. You had Michael Gray did this interview. It was really good, talking about why he cancelled Doctor Who. And he was saying because they didn't know what to do, so they just put sex and violence in it. And I think he was absolutely right. So today they don't know what to do, so they put wokeness in it and member bearers. Right? None of the stuff we saw, I think, were member bearers. They all had parts of the that worked, that were important.
Yeah.
So I thought there was a couple like the Borg changeling alliance that needed a little bit more explanation.
I do agree with you on that one. That would have been very interesting to explore, and I think they missed the trick because they concentrated on what's her name, Amanda Plummer's character a bit too much. I thought, they whereas if they had shown a bit more interaction on why the Borg and why the changelings were willing to come to this, you know. Yeah, because I kind of get it. You want to get back at the Federation, but it still seemed a little bit overkill.
Yeah, I thought they should have had. This is what I thought they should have done. Had Jack Crusher go through the wormhole, Deep Space Nine at the beginning, so you could tie them in, and then Gold the Cut is a Par Wraith living in the wormhole.
I know what you're talking about now because I'm actually watching Deep Space Nine, so I actually know what you're talking about.
The matchmake. He makes the match between the ball gremlin and these damaged changelings.
Yeah. The changelings are, I have to be honest though, a very interesting enemy of the Federation. And you know, I'd like to see a bit more of them going forward. To be quite honest with you, I think it's a very listen, Picard season 3 should kick off. Look, forget about Alex Kurtzman and Goldsman for a minute, right? Yeah. But if this has in somehow showed them that this is the way to go, right? I don't like those two either, right? I don't think Kurtzman suits Trek. You know, he did Hawaii 5-0, the updated version, and he's absolutely brilliant, and he's wrote brilliant episodes of that, and I'm not going to knock him. He is, when it comes to that sort of stuff, like Chibs, when it comes to drama and crime stuff, they're top of their game, right? Yeah. But you stick those people into sci-fi,
they fall apart,
right? Yeah. They fall good because they don't understand it, right? I mean, we all remember that Kurtzman interview that he did at a Comic-Con. Do you remember a couple of years ago where he actually said he was going to use Star Trek as a platform? That's what it was there for. No, you fool. It's not what it was there for. So I can understand why fans, and still some fans today, are not watching Picard season 3 because of Kurtzman and all of that. It is a shame. I would always encourage people. I think you should give it a go.
Yeah,
I
listen,
think you'd be mildly
just
surprised.
give-
But Gabby made the point there. We're kind of Picard season 3, right? If we were actually getting good television over the last 10, 15 years, I don't think we would be saying Picard season 3 was great. I would.
No, I think we would.
In reality,
I
I
think
think
it really
we'd say.
stands up. I think it really stands
Do
up.
you?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's got such an intense understanding of the characters.
Yeah.
And it's so right for where they all are in life. There's a bit in it where Geordie doesn't want his daughters to go off and do a Star Trek-y thing. Right.
Yeah.
And I so get that for the character. It's like Geordie weighted down with responsibilities of parenting and you know, and job, and he's got all this responsibilities on him.
Yeah, he had all of that going on.
No, and she's like, no, because she's like a young version.
Yeah, and then you had Roygar with his problems. Then you had Roygar with his problems. Diana and him lost their child. You had Worf, who was a pacifist but used guns and knives when it was appropriate. I loved Worf.
Raffi was good. Amazing.
Raffi, now listen, I hated Raffi.
She was brilliant.
But I think Raffi's character was definitely redeemed in this series, and I love the actress, by the way, because she's in other stuff that I've watched her in. So I was really rooting for her in this third series, and by God, they
and we had the very cool criminal Vulcan. He was great. Ferengi. I like both of those.
Yeah, but they didn't last long, did they? That's the thing.
Yeah, because they
Wolf killed him.
It didn't matter. It was
actually, Gabby has brought up a point here, Rabbi. Do you want to answer this one? Because I agree with him.
They'll find some more bull.
But hold on, I've got an idea.
The biggest enemy is Alex Kurtzman.
I've got an idea. Yeah. I know what you could do, because there is enemies, right? There's a little show called Star Trek Voyager, isn't there, in the Delta Quadrant, right? What if aliens or someone in the Delta Quadrant found a wormhole that actually leads to the Alpha Quadrant, and then they start invading? Remember, the species 8472, there's the Kazon.
Right.
There's all of these untapped...
No. This is what they need to do.
The Erosion.
They need to just go to Strange New Worlds, right? This new show, Star Trek Legacy, it'll basically them just going and do Star Trek-y shit, and occasionally Q shows up, and they... Like, all this stuff with lore doesn't matter, right? It's fun to go back to Starbase occasionally, but all the stuff, like, you just want them out doing Star Trek-y stuff. Like Strange New Worlds, essentially. That you just don't want them doing Star Trek-y stuff. That's it.
Yeah, I would love to see them do the Kazon again, because I think in Voyager, they started off great, but I think they mishandled the Kazon. They did a great job with the Erosion, actually.
You know, it'd be great if they did like a revival, like a revival of Voyager, where they go back when they're old and they're back in the Delta Quadrant for some reason, and they see what it's like now compared to like the immigration is insane now in America.
See,
right?
I would love another. Listen, I've argued about this now since they decided to do spin-offs and stuff. Now she is in an animation. Obviously, she's in Star Trek Prodigy, where she plays a hologram, but I actually, while she's great in it, and that cartoon's great, I love that cartoon. It's better than Lower Decks, by the way. It's for kids.
Oh yeah,
but it's much better.
Oh no, the figures are out now for what is it called, Prodigy. You can get the figures.
Yeah, I'm gonna if I can get my hands on them, I'm gonna buy them. I love that show.
Yeah,
right. It's one of the other Star Trek shows that I love, and I've bigged it up. It is well worth the watch. If you like pure Star Trek, you will love this. Trust me, there's a lot going on. But there is a missed opportunity, I think, with Kate. They should have done a live action show. And I agree with you. I think you could have brought back the Voyager crew. Something from their past has come back to haunt them. They have to go on one final mission. And all the crew is reassembled, like they did with Picard. But you see, now they do that now. They'll say you're copying Picard, so we can't do that now. That's the thing. You can't do that now because Picard has already done it. Because if you repeat the same trick
with their own thing, don't worry, they'll come with that. But if Star Trek Legacy is the thing, I'm hopeful for. Look, I'm going to have to go. I stayed much longer than I thought. I thought I was just going to drop in. You beguiled me with conversation. What can I tell you?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having me on. It was lovely.
That was
lovely to talk back, Rabbi.
Well, I mean, we do this every Wednesday, isn't it? Wednesday, yeah. We do this every Wednesday. If you wanna pop on every Wednesday, you're more than welcome.
Listen, I'm more of a pop off kind of guy, but I can pop on too.
Yeah, you can pop on any time you want, or pop off, or do whatever.
Medication for that, and it helps. Let me tell you.
You're more than welcome.
So with that, thank you for having me. I'm gonna head off.
Not about that. Go on. And that was Rabbi. Yeah. That was fun. That was fun.
Oh.
But yeah, I suppose I'll have to let Queen Charlotte have a chat now. I think it's the only time where poor Queen Charlotte hasn't said much on a stream, and that normally doesn't fucking happen. So
thank you.
No, because we like to give you an opportunity to talk. So is there anything that's happened since we saw you last week on the Chill Zone? Is there any recommendations you want to make, or anything you want to talk about for a couple of minutes?
Considering I moan so much about Witcher Netflix, I am actually going to say what I love about the books, because I've been rereading them basically and like getting back into the books, and I think so I've got to say the author's name now. This is fun. Sarkovsky. There we go. It's his books have worked so well, and why they sort of got out of the sort of, they started in Poland, they got translated, and then they became like a worldwide hit. It's like, because it's such a mixture of genres, and I think the one thing that I think the show didn't get, and still probably won't get, I'll be surprised if they do, is that sort of melting pot of genres. The fact that in the books you get bits that are so fantasy, like high fantasy sort of creatures, and the sort of medieval setting you associate with fantasy now, and the sort of what the Witcher is, just the fact that he's this mutant, like he has these amazing abilities straight from high fantasy. But then to go with that, and this is what I think the books get so brilliantly, and rereading them, it's reminded me, it's that wildness, which I think the show doesn't get. And the game tries, it does a really good attempt, but you'll never beat the books, because it's that feel of wildness and unpredictability in the world in the books. It's like you have characters will just have a vision, and they'll just get this this being that you don't know exactly what it is talking to them. So that a few times it's sort of been hinted it's death in the books that sort of will visit certain characters, or like if they're in a certain if they're in a certain area, like certain forests in the Witcher lore have a lot of power, like sort of makes me think of, if you're in Britain, think of old British forests, that sort of mystique around them, and the fact that anything could be there and you don't quite know. So even if they're just in one of these locations, they can have a vision, some certain characters, or they can see something that doesn't quite fit. And it's just because of the location, and it's because of how charged of magic it is. And it's like I was rereading, there's a key character called Avalok in the books. He's in the show, but I showed PD, and he'll tell you
yeah.
In the show, he looks about 12, and he's introduced in the most like boring fashion. He's just like in a city, you bump into him almost. But rereading the bit in the book where you meet him, literally Geralt gets a message to be like, oh, go to this random cave in the middle of a forest. And he goes in the cave, and it's full of creatures that talk to him, because that's the other thing. The creatures in the Witcher books are intelligent. They're not just there to be killed and slashed at, like the show uses them. They're just sort of fodder in the show. But in the books, they're intelligent. So he's sort of in this cave, seeing this mystical elf he's never met. And he's all these creatures who are just taunting him. And it's a brilliant scene. And because they're taunting, saying basically, we could kill you. And we want to kill you because of your Witcher. But we've been told we can't. So just to begin with, that's giving you a hint of the power of Avalok. That he's got all these terrible creatures, and they're listening to him. and like they taunt Geralt. They even like throw things at him. Like it's a proper sort of, they're seeing how far they can get with Geralt, knowing he can be a bit at times trigger happy when it comes to violence. And he eventually gets in the cave after sort of ignoring all these creatures. And there's this beautiful, it's described as this painting on the wall, like this really fantastical art piece. And like he's trying to decipher what it means. And then he just hears Avalok. And then he sort of appears from nowhere. It's how it's described in the book. And then he starts talking about the painting. And then Geralt says, well, you've asked me to come here. And then he just gives him a load of riddles. So that's what I mean by this sense of wildness and this unpredictability and this sort of feeling of otherworldliness that the books just encapsulate brilliantly. It's like in other book times when Geralt thinks somebody who he loves is dead. He thinks death talks to him, and he actually has a conversation with what he thinks is death. And it's basically death asking him about her death and how he feels about it. That's what I mean. It's that sense of just, you never know what's going to happen. And rereading the books, it's like, God, that's such a like trademark of the books. And I'd say, so if anybody likes fantasy, but with not so much sort of strict rules, because I always find that I've tried to read Lord of the Rings so many times. I've tried, and every time I fail.
Just watch them. In fairness, though, the books are, I mean, you really have to be there's so much that goes on in the Lord of the Rings books. And it's the same with the Game of Thrones books, believe it or not, or the whatever it's called, the Song of
Game of
yeah.
Well,
I mean, they are really, there is a lot of reading and you forget a lot of stuff. I would say, if you want, to get the closest experience to the books, then watch the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I'm being honest with you, there's literally a scene that goes on for an hour, and it's 2 trees walking through a forest with the hobbits talking.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot of information as well. So the movies are the best thing for those books anyway, at least.
Yeah, because I was going to say, though, it's like with the books, you always get a sense whenever I have tried with Lord of the Rings that it is fantasy, but the rules are quite well known. And it's quite sort of set up that this is how everything works. Whereas with The Witcher, you don't get that sense of, obviously there are rules, there are law, I'm not saying there isn't, but it just has a sense of fluidness about it a bit, in the good way. And Walked Eyebrow said, yeah, I would say they're a good try for somebody who's struggles before with high fantasy, because another thing I love about the books is Sarkovsky, you can tell he only puts in what he thinks is needed for the story. He doesn't go on massive like side sort of chat quests or side stories. Everything is sort of focal to Geralt. Everything's focal to what's the main story for this book. Yes, there's other characters, but they all trace back to Geralt in some way. Because either a familial link, or they're a threat to him, or they're a power like the kings. That's the other thing which does my head in at the show. The kings are hardly in the show. The idea of monarchy and royalty is got no power. But in the books, because it's medieval times, so the kings are very powerful. And if they want to move the world a certain way, they will try to move it a certain way.
Well, a lot of these writers that write the show, though, didn't one of the women that wrote the show, the main one, come out and say some nonsense about, kind of basically respecting the books. See, this is the thing. A lot of these writers today, because you bring up about the whole royalty in The Witcher, that's why it doesn't feature. That's why you don't see the kid, because a lot of these young writers,
they hate it.
They hate royalty anyway. It doesn't matter whether they live in England or the UK, Ireland, wherever the writers are from. They don't like royalty. You could see that there's a lot. I've seen, especially lately, a lot of anti-royal sentiment, but not just in the UK, but like around the world. So it's there. And a lot of these writers, as you know, they've got their ideology, and a lot of them are anti-royalists. And you see a lot of them on UK TV now, you know, they're bringing them on, which I don't really understand. If you're in media and you support the royal family, why you'd bring these people on. I suppose it is free speech, I suppose, but a lot of that show, but a lot of these writers are influenced by a lot of that, Charlotte. So maybe that's why you have to see it. And maybe that's the reason why Henry Cavill was like, I'm actually out here now because, you aren't respecting the source material, and you are basically cherry picking what you want and then adding your own stuff.
That's what I'd say, because like in the books, the kings and the royalty, basically the simplest way I can explain it is that Ciri, everybody wants her. She's that powerful. She's sort of this powder keg.
So if you marry or you have kids with her, then you're going to be with. Yeah, it used to happen. Yeah.
So basically, all the kings want her. You've got the mages for the exact reason, but in a different way, a little bit. So that's what happens in the book, and it's brilliant. That you'll see all these different factions fight against each other and
for this woman's hand, and basically she's playing her own games as well, because she knows obviously that all these men want her. So she'll even, I haven't read the books, but I'd say she probably even plays them off each other a little bit.
Well, I was going to say Ciri wouldn't, because she's quite young, but you've got people like Yennefer, who knows the game, who's also very good looking. He's meant to be beautiful.
Right.
And you can see but that's the other thing. It's like you've got all these characters who would never usually meet, but because of Ciri, they do. And they sort of fight and conflict with each other. But that's the problem with the show as well. Ciri's hardly met anybody. She's sort of been kept to the side when she should be, like I said. And this is why sometimes I don't agree, if I'm being honest, with the sort of, there's too much Ciri I see sometimes as a critic. Like when as online critics having a go. And I'm like, you haven't read the books then, have you? She's meant to be this like ultimate prize.
Yeah.
That's what she is.
Yeah.
So she should be second fiddle to Geralt, really. Very much so.
Sorry, just as you know, I don't follow the official Doctor Who site, and I don't mean to not acknowledge what you've said.
No, it's all right.
But Dave, I was wondering what Rabbi was actually talking about, so I went and I had a look. BBC 2 hours ago released a couple of new images. Would you like to see them?
Okay, show them up.
Right. Well, yeah. So, do you know the way Rabbi was talking about a historical episode? And I was like, what? I knew he was in the 60s, but he mentioned a historical episode, and I was like,
oh, that's where the new actor comes from.
Yeah, so they've released obviously it is a historical episode, because when you see the get-up that they're in.
So is this a different one than the 60s one?
Well, you see, it's a different one. See, I don't like Bridgerton or any of those fucking shows. So, I mean, it's in that time period. Oh, man. Anyway, I'll throw the photograph up. It's not my thing. All of this fucking, what was that other show that everybody went crazy about every week? It was on every Sunday.
Oh, Downton Abbey.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah, I don't like any of that wardrobe.
No, it's not my cup of tea either.
And that's what we're getting.
Yeah, looks like we're getting.
Oh that. No, I wanted Shooty in this sort of get up. I thought he would look good, and he does.
No, I'm not gonna lie. He does, and there's that new actor that they just recently announced. Maybe that's why they announced him. So there's Millie in our get up. And there's Shooty in his get up as well. Looks very interesting. But there's a second photo, so hopefully I can get it up, because Twitter is playing up. There you go. Told you it's playing up, so we have to do that, because Elon hasn't gotten his act together with Twitter. So it's not working on the desktop properly. A lot of people have had issues with the desktop. He needs to sort that out. I mean, he's adding so much stuff to it. He doesn't realize that, you know, if you don't do it precisely, and he's supposed to be an expert, is you can upset the app, and that's exactly what he's done. So just bear with me while all of this reloads up again, because, you know, Twitter under Elon is becoming a bit of a joke, if you ask me. I'm the only one that'll actually say it out straight. Everybody thinks it's a garden of
I do
Eden.
find
It's
it
not.
interesting, though, that they seem to be showing off a lot of the historical ones and none of the current day stuff.
Yes, I've noticed that as well, mate. It does seem strange, doesn't it? I have to say though, they're rocking this gear, and here's the other photograph. And I like this one, I have to say. He looks real.
Like, we've had so
real
many
good.
costume reveals, and they've all been historical ones.
So there you go. Hopefully you can see that.
Just a second.
Oh, I know him. I know him from Glee, that guy.
Yeah, he is from Glee.
Oh yeah, he's the guy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they said it. They talked about, like, and then someone pointed out. Well, the only two
is that
things I know from
Brogan or whatever his name is?
and something else. He's not really got a great CV, because the way they made it out to be, he was an international, like, superstar. Like, I mean, Glee.
And he's in America. He's got a bit of name.
Yeah.
So
over
there
here,
you go. Yeah, look, whether we like it or not, there's going to be more Americans in this version. Even though there were Americans in the RTD's original era, because if you watch it, there was, but there were news people and stuff like that, and you had a couple of Americans. But we're going to see a lot more of Americans because of the Disney thing, you know. They want to incorporate a few more Americans to get the American audiences on board. So I suppose this is why they picked this actor, because he was famous for Glee and some other stuff that he did.
No, he's in Frozen.
Oh, there you go, Frozen.
There we go.
Well, then that's why. But Millie looks rather good in that dress, I have to say. I mean, that style of costume suits her. But I have to say, I'm liking Shooty's costume a lot more, because I'll tell you why. Look at the color of the jacket again. Right, the jacket's a blue jacket on this fella, and we've got a purple jacket on Shooty, but the purple jacket looks a bit like the purple jacket that Capaldi used to wear. Obviously, it's not the same jacket, but it's the same color scheme. Interesting.
Also,
I wouldn't dismiss. Yeah, don't dismiss any stuff like this, by the way, folks, because RTD is very clever the way he does things. So there could be something in this. But he's wearing his jewelry here during this time period that he's in. I mean, did the men wear jewelry back in the?
No, yeah.
Whatever? No, but I mean, on
I don't know about
fingers,
rings as much.
That's what I mean. I mean, they probably would have had a wedding ring and a pocket watch.
No, they would for aristocracy. If you're aristocracy, you'd have a couple of rings and a pocket watch and all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah. You'd have a lot of bling. Show how wealthy you were.
Anyway, it has over 10,800k likes. It's been bookmarked 181 times. It's been quote tweeted 1,679 times, and it's been retweeted 1,752. And that's only 2 hours. That's pretty impressive.
I think that's one of the best set photos we've had so far.
I agree.
Yeah.
As like a reveal of a costume, that's one of the best ones.
I think he'll be okay, as the doctor has said. It'll be whether the writing can live up to our expectations, I suppose. We'll just have to wait and see. I suppose it's a waiting game now at this stage. But yeah, I mean, look, you are getting a little bit more now coming out. We've had the latest teaser that popped out again during the Eurovision. It wasn't an actual trailer, folks. It was another teaser. I think they are building up. I think what's going to happen is, because Catherine Tate now has been announced as a spokesperson for Eurovision when actually the main show comes on this weekend, I reckon it'll be Jordan that's when we'll get the trailer. That's why she's there. I reckon they'll
Oh, I see.
They'll have to tell us a time though, because people are not going to stay up and watch Eurovision. I'm sorry.
Well, no, Ireland have no reason because, and I'm actually delighted for this, but the band World Youth that was representing Ireland, the same band that got rid of a gay choreographer because the gay choreographer misgendered a rapist, and the band World Youth then decided to sack the choreographer because he misgendered a rapist. So in proxy, World Youth and everybody that supported World Youth was supporting a rapist. So they absolutely came nowhere in the Eurovision, and there was loads of people celebrating here in this country the fact that they failed to get through. And as we said, you are over in Liverpool right now. You can stay over there. You don't represent this country, right? Because this country is not a place full of homophobes. And we certainly do not support rapists, right? We've had plenty of them in the Catholic Church over here, okay?
Yeah.
We don't need these. And by the way, your man, the lead singer, then was slagged off because when he was on stage, it looked like he had I won't say it, it's a rude word, but his crotch area, he looked like a woman, let's just say, okay? So he got slagged off for that, but I'm glad they got nowhere. I don't care if they misgendered someone that did something as horrible as that. The fact that you sacked the guy, right, is unreal. You supported the rapist and you deserved it. 0, no points. Delighted. Don't come back to Ireland. Stay in Liverpool as well. Yeah, you're certainly welcome back here. We don't like people that support rapists in this country. And if these new hate speech laws come in effect in Ireland, they'll be the worst hate speech laws that has ever been passed in any other country. We will be literally a dictatorship. They're going to lock people up in this country for misgendering now, right? So that's how bad it's gone. The government and the EU, especially, this is the EU's plan and baby. Yeah. But the Irish government now, because they're the whipping boys of Europe, and they're going to try it in Ireland first. Ireland now they're trying to force these laws on us now. So the Irish people have had enough now, and there's protests, and it's going to get worse. And I'm even thinking of going out onto the streets again because, at the end of the day, I am not going to go on with the delusion any longer. The bottom line is there are two sexes. Simple as that. You're born male and female, right? Now, if you want to identify as a woman or a man, and you happen to be your original gender, the birth gender, right? We call it that, or birth sex, right? That's fine, but don't expect me to play along with your delusion. As far as I'm concerned, you're still the sex that you were when you were born, and that's the end of the story. You cannot defy biology. You cannot dismiss biology. I'm not playing along with no delusions anymore, right? Any man that says they're a woman, fair enough, call yourself a woman, but I'm not going to call you a woman. You're a man, because you were born a man. That's the end of the story, and that's not transphobic. That's stating a fact. But this is what these leftists do. They put labels and names on things to dehumanize you. At the end of the day, it's fact, right? It's scientific fact, by the way. And the scientists that you do have on your side are only on your side because you've paid them a good few quid, right? Just like the climate extremists out there and all of these scientists that are going along with it because they were given money. Because money is the most important thing to these people, right? But the reality is humans have no say in climate change. This climate is going to change. And as I said, the other stuff that we were talking about, we're not responsible. At the end of the day, people need to wake up, open their eyes, and call this stuff out. It's a delusion. The sad thing about it is look, I think that the thing that people have a problem with is if adults were just doing this to themselves, we wouldn't really give a shit, would we? They can live their lives the way they want. But the fact now that they're trying to indoctrinate our kids and have this part of the curriculum and try to tell our kids that it's normal. I mean, I read something today. Schools in America are literally hiding the fact from the parents that they're asking these kids to go to these LGBTQ plus little groups, and not to tell your parents, because your parents will be upset with us. There's two sets of parents now suing a school district for just doing that. But that's what's going on in some schools. Not all schools,
that's a problem.
but this is why we have a problem with it, right? Nobody had a problem with drag. Nobody had a problem with transgender until they brought kids in.
It was forced upon us,
right?
Yeah.
That's it, right? But you're not going to force me to call someone. Listen, I'll be respectful to any trans person out there, right? I'll treat you with the same respect as you treat me. But at the end of the day, you can't force me to believe in something just because, you know, you believe it. That's not how it works. You can't dictate to the rest of society now. You know, and remember, it's only a small percentage of the whole global population.
But it's giving a small percentage a lot of power.
And they have a lot of power. And it's
you away just because of, you might you know, accidentally call us a madam, a sir, you know.
Walked eyebrow, that's been going on for decades, man. Right? If you've been listen, I've deep dived into this whole topic, right? It's disgusting. And all of the child exploitation that goes on, right? I've been reading into all of this, watching videos, watching documentaries. Now, when I say watching videos, I mean watching documentaries. I'm not watching clips or stuff that, you know, you shouldn't be watching. I think the word is, I'm not watching anything illegal. I'm watching documentaries by people that have independent documentaries and stuff like that, right? That are not beholden to the media, that are basically not afraid to come out and tell the truth. Listen, there's a lot of nastiness going on in this world, yeah? And, you know, when you're a kid, you don't realize how nasty the world is. You know, sometimes I miss being a kid. I've got to be honest, because as an adult now, you're right. You're right, but at the same time,
I miss the 90s.
You know, you believe that the world is an innocent place, but when you're an adult, obviously that is not the case. The world is a cesspit, and it's full of ugly and horrible and disgusting people. But there are also the majority of the population that are kind-hearted and, you know, helpful and loving and want to make the world a better place. But unfortunately, it is always that small minority. Do you always notice that, even in groups out there as well, it's always the small minorities that seem to have the power for some weird reason.
Yeah,
I don't know how that actually happened. I don't know how that flipped. I don't know how that did flip, because, you know, it used to be the other way around. I remember specifically it was the other way around. The people in power had the power. Any of the little guy came along, they squashed them. That was it. It was done.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's like, I could start the cause now, right? Could be something stupid. I believe that, you know, we're responsible for, you know,
polluting the galaxy.
Something stupid, right?
Polluting the galaxy.
Right? And then all of a sudden, then let's create this group, we get a lot of followers, and then we start doing, you know, videos on YouTube. And then the press want to talk to me. Why do you believe we're responsible for turning online? Well, let me tell you. You know what I mean? Then I become very powerful, and then I'm lecturing people like Greta is about the climate. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? You know, I read up about her today. See, all of that was planned. It was planned. It was the whole Greta coming to the public's eye. Remember, nobody knew who Greta was, and then all of a sudden she was all over the place.
Well, she's disappeared now, hasn't she?
Yeah. Oh no, she's too busy. She's too busy being fake arrested in places.
Oh yeah, it's fake.
Now our PR people are setting up the fact that when the police are taking her away, they're staging it. They're literally, there's actually a video where you see them staging her arrest, right? And she's smiling and laughing. Then as soon as the cameras are turned on, she's making that face that she made at Donald Trump, like the bratty little child that she is. You know, I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump. I mean, I don't know why you're being a bratty little yoke to him. He's not responsible for the world's climate changing. You bleeding idiot, right? None of us are. I don't want to make that point, right? Whether you believe me or not, right? Reputable scientists that have been discredited by the mainstream. And remember, these are the very same people, right? Watch the video of your woman that was head of the climate research. and she said something very interesting, right? And it's nearly quote from quote, but she said, we own the science on climate change.
You don't own
right?
science. It's a
Nobody owns science.
A natural fact.
That's what I mean. Nobody owns
investigation into a natural fact.
So as soon as she said that, right? Listen, I've known for years that this is all a hoax anyway, right? The hoax isn't climate change, right? The climate is clearly changing. You've seen it. It is. The weather, there's some extreme weather patterns that we're having, but it happens. It's happened before when humans were on the planet. It happened before humans were on the planet. The climate changes. The hoax is that we're responsible, right? But telling us that we're irresponsible makes the likes of, what's his name, Al Gore and all of these other people that fly jet set around the world, to multi-millionaires, billionaires in some cases. Here's something very interesting, right? President Obama, or former President Obama, spoke about climate change, as you know. But tell me this: why did he buy a 37 million beachside
I know this.
Villa if the waters are going to rise and it's going to erode the coastline? It's not. They wouldn't be buying these properties, folks, right? The bottom line is they know that what they're talking, the sea levels are not, look, listen, the sea levels have not deviated that much. There's actually a famous photograph from a famous pier that's shown in Australia, and they show you the water levels haven't changed. They've actually went down, right?
Yeah.
Because see, what people see, they're dumb, right? They think we're dumb, right? There's already ice in the water, as you know. When that ice melts, it doesn't make a difference because the ice is already sitting in the water, isn't it? It's just melting, but the same volume of water is going to be there. Do it with the easiest way to disprove this is actually simple. Go and get yourselves a glass of water, right? Fill the glass of water up, add the ice, and I mean fill the water up to the top, right up to the top, as much as you can get it without it spilling, right? With the cubes of ice. Now, hold on though. With the cubes of ice already in the water, that's important to tell you.
Yeah, that's it.
Cubes of ice in the water, add the water, fill it up to the top, and leave the glass alone. Leave the glass alone, right? And come back when all the ice is melted. And tell me, is there any water out of that glass except the condensation that you would get? Tell me if there's pools of water at the coming out of your glass, and you will find that no water has actually come out of the glass. The water level is still the same because the water level is still the same. And another thing as well, if I was to put that glass outside while it's warm and the ice melts, right? Not only will the water level when the ice melts stay the same, it will then start to evaporate.
Yeah.
Because that's what the sun does to the ocean.
Yeah, if you put it in a window.
Now, the other argument when that was pointed out, they tried to say, well, what about all the ice on the mountains and stuff that's melting away, that's going into the rivers and stuff like that? Well, that's happened before.
Yeah.
Because Mount Everest and stuff, all of these pictures show, well, there was ice here 30 years ago. There's no ice here now, but there will be in another 30 or 40 years. It's a cycle.
Cycles. Yeah.
It cycles all the time.
Cycles. Like we cycle around the sun.
There's landmass under Antarctica. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. When all of that ice eventually does melt away, that landmass will come back again, and then we'll discover things about this planet that we never knew. Right? But that ice will melt away, but that doesn't mean that the oceans will be sky high and we'll be all dead. No. Not a chance. It's the climate changes. It changed before, changed the time of the dinosaurs, it changed the time before the dinosaurs, changed the time before we were on the planet, then while we were on the planet. The fact is we're more technological and probably smarter nowadays, which we could argue that that isn't the case. I do reckon that the ancient Egyptians were actually higher intelligence, and I think the human race actually has been set back, to be honest, because nobody could still figure out how they build the pyramids.
Yeah.
Like scientists today have used all sorts of stuff to figure out how they built them. They have an idea, but they still can't figure out how they're able to build them and have these little chambers in them and all of these secret compartments and be able to build them the way they did, right? I reckon, and I've said this anyway, our history is not our history.
No.
Our past is not our past.
That's exactly how I feel.
They've kept stuff from us, but I reckon the human race was set back a few hundred years, because if you look at the intelligence of the ancient Egyptians,
something happened,
should be far more intelligent. Logically, as each generation is born, we should get more intelligent.
Yeah.
But it looks like we've gone backwards.
Yeah.
So listen, they've made discoveries as well with questions certain time periods throughout Earth's history. And, you know, you got the shills trying to explain it, the shill scientists trying to explain it. But the scientists that are willing to speak up are saying, listen, our whole history, our whole past is a lie. Right? Now, we're obviously not talking about recent history, but some of that has been skewed, and some of it, I mean, for example, you know, you look at the whole thing with World War II in Britain, you know, we had your man, what was his name? Alan Turing, your man,
Turing,
your guy that invented the fucking machine that bloody
that broke the code,
the code that actually helped defeat the Nazis. But he was erased from history. And why was he erased from history? Because he was a gay man,
homosexual,
right? Yeah. Same with NASA's history. When you read NASA's history, it's all blokes and male astronauts. But did you just know that while they were actually training male astronauts, they were also training female astronauts? And it actually turned out that female astronauts are more adept at being in space than men are, right? But that was all covered up. Again, the woman that did the code, go on.
You just have to go to one of the oldest books in history, and it's funny enough, me and PD backstage were talking about this last week. Yeah. The Bible. That has been revisited, that has been changed. There has been so many, there should be books of certain people that are not in any Bible if you were to get one.
Here's the thing, in the Bible, right, I'll ask you this question, right? I'm religious. I used to be religious. I read the Bible, Old and New Testament, but
I did a degree in religion, so
right, you did a degree, so you'll know what I'm talking about. So you'll know what I'm talking about here. How many women in the Bible are thought of as nice, delightful?
Not many.
You could argue one, and that was the Virgin Mary, right? Mary Magdalene, how was she portrayed?
It depends what Bible you pick.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's true. You are right, because there's different versions where she's shown in a different light to what our Bible shows us. In our Bible, she was
Jesus' wife.
She was an adulterer. She was a nasty piece of crap. But I think this goes deeper. I honestly, listen, I as you know, I'm a big fan of the Da Vinci Code. Now, I know the Da Vinci Code is a work of fiction by Dan Brown, but at the same time, he is trying to tell us there is more to the Bible, more to Da Vinci and stuff like that. But that whole scenario where Mary Magdalene was actually the Savior's partner is the one
wife,
that I like.
Partner, whatever
I do, yeah. And I think that's exactly what did occur, because there was a council, the Council of Nicaea, which you'll know about if you obviously did your So that's where they decided, where all the religious sects came together for a big meeting, and they discussed which stories, which gospels would go into the Bible that we know today.
Yeah, because basically there was so many chapters and disciples that wrote that they had to decide who's going to get any first official book.
Exactly.
And Mary wrote one. There was
Mary
Gospel
Magdalene.
of Mary.
That's right. There's also what are they called? There's 7, isn't there 7 gospel stories that they've omitted?
There's loads of like one.
There's more than 7,
weird
but the 7 main ones, and these 7 main gospel stories show Jesus in a different light to what we've been told. It shows him to be a human person who was an inspiration, but also had a family of his own, and they were kept there. And that didn't make the Jesus look divine was taken out, and that made him look more human, more fallible like us, was taken out. So we have this skewed vision of Jesus. Does it change? And for me personally, if they changed it and they told us the truth, no, because I do believe he was a human inspiration. I do believe he did a lot of good, and I do believe he wanted a better place for everybody. What's wrong with that? So what if he wasn't divine, or he didn't do these miracles or acting like that? That doesn't matter to me.
Ideally,
look, I'm not as religious as I used to be, but there are times where I'm down. I won't pray to God, but I will say, Jesus, can you? Because I believe in Jesus, and I've always believed in Jesus. God, not so. That's my personal thing, but God, not so much. But Jesus, yeah, because there's proof he was here. There was proof that he did all of these amazing things, not the miracles per se, but talking to people, telling people that there was better, that their lives could be better. You know what I mean? And that is an inspiration. When you have people like that throughout your throughout the centuries in our little planet, people like that should be, we should look upon them and say, yeah, they were great. He was a human inspiration, you know.
And like what Eyebrow talks about, Jesus, I believe that he was a wise man. There was a sort of, like you said, this inspirational figure, because he's in other books, just not as the Son of God. He's seen as a prophet in some books. In other books, he's just a wise man, and he's sort of seen as this inspirational figure.
Here's the thing: I was watching a documentary now. Whether it was on National, I think it was on National Geographic, but it could have been on the History Channel. And I don't like the History Channel because the History Channel is not like the old history. Well, the History Channel is not like the History Channel that I used to watch growing up. It did history. It didn't give a skewed, well, you know what I mean? It didn't come up with mad theories in history. But I did watch this documentary on Jesus, right? But apparently there was another prophet. That's what they called him. There was another prophet at the same time. Just over the other. There was two prophets. Jesus got inspiration apparently off the first prophet. And he was inspired by this fella that they were talking. I forget his name. But he was going around as well, and he was telling people that their lives could be better if and all this. And Jesus apparently got inspired by that and decided then, because that's what it was. These men wanted to make life better for people because people were going through tough times. They couldn't help them financially or anything like that because they were just as poor as them, but they were able to talk. They were able to give people inspiration, tell them, your life mightn't seem good at the moment, but remember what you've got around you. You've got a beautiful family. You've got, they were inspiration. And, as I said, I don't pray to God, but when I do feel down and I feel like I need to talk to someone, I'll give a big shout out to the man, Jesus. And I do, I'm being honest, after I do have a bit of a chat, I do feel great after it. I do feel like I've gotten stuff off my chest. And you know what? Job done, man. Job done. I don't need any of the other stuff. I don't care if he didn't turn water into wine or turn the fishes into like we've been told. I don't care. The fact is, I was able to go, and say what I needed to say, and I felt better after it, And I think people forget that. You don't. Religion's a funny thing.
Yeah.
I always believe that Jesus anyway wouldn't have want churches in his name. And I don't think that was the original intention. But I do know that it wasn't supposed to be St. Peter anyway that created the first church in his name. He'd actually given that job, if true, to Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was supposed to set up. But again, women in the Bible, as I says, the only one that's actually treated with any respect is the Virgin Mary. But most of the other women in it are not treated so well. But even the Bible now, apparently the Catholic Church came out a few years back to say that they were revising their story on Mary Magdalene because new evidence or something had come to light. So what is this new evidence? You mean the Dead Sea Scrolls that was found years ago that told you all this in the first place? Because we all know, because we've had
She
signs
was
that
important.
have
Yeah, she
come
had a
out.
bigger part
Yeah.
to play.
And we also have people that were willing to come out, that were willing to say, listen, the church is lying to you. Jesus was this person, and this is what he did, and he did do a lot of good, but this is the truth of the matter. But anytime they do, scientists or experts like that, they're always discredited. So once they're discredited, people won't listen. And I think that's
Or should we
sad.
call it cancelled?
Those people should be listened to. They're telling you what you need to know. Remember, the reason why these other people tried to cancel them, as PD, it's called cancelling people now, is because they want to shut them up.
Exactly.
Because they're telling the truth. You know what I mean? Look, religion is funny for me nowadays, but I was an altar boy. I sang in a church choir. Now, I didn't have a bad experience with a priest. Every priest that I kind of worked under, if you want to call it work, or it's not really work, as dedication to the church.
With.
I had dedication to my church, so I wanted to help out any way I could. You know, I did the water and the wine thing with the priest, you know, handed them up, did the thing an altar boy does, ring the bell, all of that. I never had a bad experience with any of the priests. All the priests I ever knew were lovely. Every single one of them. Not a bad word to say about them. Even one priest in particular wasn't having a particularly good time at home. And, you know, he suggested that you take me, my brothers, and a load of other kids with other parents. We'll bring them on a camping trip if you want to, you know, give us your kids for the weekend so you can have a break away from them. And back then in those days, you know, it was never frowned upon if a priest says, look, we'll take your kids to take them on a trip, parents obliged. But never had an issue with a priest at all. And then, of course, growing up then, hit me teenage years, you kind of lost a little bit of, not faith, but I kind of lost me connection, because when you get older, not going to lie, for me, girls was a big thing back then when I was growing up. That, you know, girls caught me eye then as a teenage boy, as it does. And, you know, I went to church less and less, and before you knew it, I wasn't going to church anymore. And then in the mid-90s, then in Ireland, as you all know, and it was even known in America, shameful part of our history was revealed when the Catholic Church was exposed. And that's when I lost my faith then. I was like, now I never questioned any of the priests that, as I said, I had these friendship with or worked with in church or went on trips with. They never said anything or treated me inappropriately. They were lovely. And still to this day, you know, one of them, you know, I found out died only a couple of years ago, and they were buried at the parish. And I went up and I said a few words, because, you know, that priest in particular tried to help me in a difficult situation, you know, and got me out of there. And it was great, and it meant a lot to me. So I felt like I had to go and, you know, I had already thanked him while he was alive, but I mean, you know, I wanted to, because I bumped into him again a few years later. He couldn't believe it was me, and we had a bit of a reminisce about that camping trip, because the reason why that camping trip sticks out so much is because the day that we actually went, the Irish Army were over. Say we were here, and then there was a mountain, right? So we were on one side of the mountain, but on the other side of the mountain, the Irish Army was training. So at about, it must have been, or it was in the middle of the night, right? It was pitch dark, right? We were all asleep. Next of all we hear is, right?
Wow.
Big explosions, right? Of course, we're kids. We jump out. What's going on? And it's just the Irish Army. We forgot to tell you they're training. And we were like,
well, that's nice to tell them.
So then, of course, once we knew what it was as a kid, we got back into the tent, and we would just start acting for the last, because it kept, you know, went on for a good hour. So we were in the tent just messing and having a laugh while the priests tried to go back and the parents tried to go back to sleep. But I don't think they got any sleep at all because we literally kept everybody awake. But then eventually, as kids, you know yourself, the fresh air, the country air knocked us out and we were gone. We were up bright and early the next morning, believe it or not. It was great. Then we went down to the stream and we had a bit of a wash and stuff. Oh man, there's nothing worse. I don't know if you've ever went camping, but there's nothing worse when you wake up, right? And you need to wash your face to wake up, you know, throw water like you do at home. But if you do it in a fresh river stream, right, where the rocks, where the water, right, go there, throw the water. Oh man, the screaming that went on. The more
Nearly blind yourself.
Oh my God, it was ice cold. But we do a bit of fishing. It was great, man. But yeah, I loved me time there. But as I said, I kind of lost me faith a long time ago. I was kind of angry.
I was going to say there's something special because because I studied it. I went to quite a few different religious places and spoke to these sort of either gurus or priests or these other figures. And there's something about those type of people when you talk to them. They do sort of give you this feeling, don't they, of calmness.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I have to say, even the priest that I'm talking about, I mean, he just had to open his mouth. I mean, it was, I don't know what it was, but it was just such a comfort, you know.
I can remember once, because if there's one religion I really admire, and that's the word I'd use, is Sikhism. Because I can remember when I first went into their place of worship is a Gurdwara, and we went in it, and their leader, one of their sort of main religious leaders, was in there and he spoke to us.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that conversation because it was just, he was so open and he just came across with no pretense of being important. He just wanted to speak to you. And I've always remembered how he described faith because I just thought it's such a beautiful way to describe it. And it stuck with me even though I'm not religious. And he basically said, the way he saw it is we're all on the same road in this journey on this same road trip was how he phrased it.
Exactly. We just got a different driver.
But no, he didn't say that. He said, you're all in your different cars. So he was sort of referring to different faiths without saying it. And then he goes, but do you know what? He goes, you just take different turns like you would on a normal road. And then you might come back. And I was like, that's such a lovely way to describe it. Life in general, I thought that's a nice way to think of life.
Yeah.
It's just simple and it's sort of taught to everybody.
So I don't think we should call this the chill zone anymore. I actually agree. No, but you know what? I love that we've had this chat, to be quite honest with you, because we don't chat. You know, religion and politics are a bit of an awkward thing. I think religion, though, is a little bit more, well, it used to be a little bit more easier to talk about. I mean, you talk about your political affiliations now, all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It doesn't happen so much with religion. Well, it does with some religious faiths, but it doesn't happen as much as it does with politics. But yeah, I'm glad we've had this conversation. And it's interesting because people in the chat as well, you know, talking about, we got Warped Eyebrow too there, giving their opinion. And we've had a lot of opinion. It's been a nice little conversation, but it's, what's this? I missed this from Crystal.
Well, that was sort of what we wanted with these streams, just to be a free-for-all a bit, didn't we?
Yeah. So, I mean, we can cover any topic here once it doesn't, you know, interfere with YouTube's guidelines, I suppose. And I don't think religion, I mean, we haven't said anything that's going to get us into trouble. We're just talking about it.
Rabbi, but that's Rabbi.
They have images from the same pair on Liberty Island from the same time of day. and the same day, 100 years apart, and it's the same height exactly. Where he's actually talking about what I brought up about the climate change there, just in case people have forgotten. But it's true, mate. It's true. But do that glass of water. It's put ice in your glass, fill your glass of water up, and leave it there. And I'm serious, man. Actually, someone has done it on YouTube. If you don't want to do it yourselves, just watch the person do it on YouTube. It's bull, right? Greta and all of her mob, right, have brainwashed these just oil and all of these other nonsense people out there. But it's nice to see that the police are finally arresting these lunatics. Right, I seen a video of an ambulance. They wouldn't even let an ambulance go by. Now, I don't know if someone was in that ambulance, but look at it this way. That ambulance could have been going to a location where someone needed an ambulance, or there's someone in the back of that ambulance. Now, that's someone's family member. Right? Now, I don't care if they want to save the planet and save us all and all of that. But are you willing to actually have blood on your hands to do it? Because that's pretty bold. You know, it's pretty bold for science that I would call a pseudoscience, and pseudoscience is, you know, it's full of theory and stuff like that. That's what they're putting out now. It's not even real science. Listen, we have limited impact on what we do to the climate, and I mean it is limited. Trust me, it is. We don't add that, and they're even going after poor cows. Right, we need the cows.
God, now.
We need the cows. Right, we need the cows. We need the chickens. We need all of it. Look at this is what these people tend to forget, and this is the way everybody should look at it. Remember that we have extinct species that have died out. Right. Yeah. Obviously, we don't know what the full impact of that has been, but that's obviously had an effect. Right. So if you start, you know, killing off cows, say, and chickens and all of this, it's going to have an effect. It's like when you kill off bees, right? Remember we had this whole thing about bees years ago. Now people are actually, you know, they're actually fair play. They're actually grown bees, if that's what you want to. I don't know what you do, what they call it. When
they're getting like hives and stuff.
But they do, yeah. But they're trying to get more bees out there because apparently the radio waves and all of that, maybe it has affected bees. Remember, we have Wi-Fi going through the sky and all radio signals all over the place. So it probably has affected the bees. But if the bees die out, right, here's the consequence, right? We lose most of our crops, right? We lose most of our plant life. Bees play a very essential part to the wider planet. So it's the same with all of these animals, right? Cows included. Yeah, okay, they're there, they feed us and they give us milk and all of that. But them farting, right? People laugh about this, but they keep saying all of these climate science, oh, we need to stop cows from farting. No,
I've got a bit of a theory about this. They don't want cows pooping, so they use that to make methane fuel. I think that's what it is. I'm starting to get a feeling. They don't want you to use methane fuel.
That's exactly what it. Listen, they're con artists, right? Bill Gates keeps talking. You just want to watch out for Bill Gates, by the way, right? Bill Gates is not the savior that everybody.
He didn't create Microsoft Windows. He bought it.
Right, I can't say that because I get it. You have to be careful when you talk. Yeah, you have to be careful when you talk about Bill Gates. But all I would say to you is do your research on Bill Gates.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right. Forget about the Epstein Island and the fact that he was on a list there. Right. Forget about that. That is disgusting in itself if he was there. Right, and why he hasn't been talked to or arrested or whatever is beyond me. But all of the other stuff, he's talking about vaccines. He's even recently he spoke about the next pandemic. So what's he planning?
We're planning next.
Right. Then he's talking about, here's one for you. A factory in the UK that produces his fake meat went up in flames.
God, cricket meat, right?
Yeah. He's the one behind the fake meat, by the way. He wants to eradicate cows. So you got to ask yourself, why does he? And also, he's got his fingers in a lot of their food that is producers and stuff like that. We've got, and this is why I've said to people, eventually we're going to have to start growing our own, buying up seeds and growing our own foods, root vegetables and stuff like that. You won't be able to trust anything
I
that
know.
they put on the supermarket shelves if Bill Gates gets his way.
It'll be full of cricket paste, yeah.
I mean...
Yes, disaster, save the cows.
Exactly. There you go.
It's like trying to engineer starvation,
yeah.
isn't it?
Remember, the British and Irish governments, and I think it was the same in the States. I'm pretty sure it was probably the same in most countries during the pandemic. Remember, they all wanted to shoot our cats and dogs and all of our pets because they thought that they were carrying the virus.
People like
forget
Andrew
about
Burridge
that.
stood up to them.
We talk about the human loss of life, right? But nobody talks about the fact that they were willing to go and do that to our pets and enforce that. Break into our homes and take our animals outside and end them because they thought they'd be spreading the virus.
Yeah, they're that crazy.
Right?
Believe
That's
anything.
how crazy things got. And during the pandemic, you've got to remember the stuff that they did. British government, the Irish government did the same.
Yeah.
Putting sick people into care homes.
Yeah.
What are you doing that for? Because you're trying to kill off the older population.
Yeah.
You won't say it to people out straight because obviously you're never going to admit that was the plan. Sure, Italy was the worst country affected by it because they obviously, Italy and China, because both of their populations are aging. They're really old population, especially Italy. Italy was decimated during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Absolutely decimated.
Spain went crazy because they border Italy.
Don't trust Bill Gates. That's why I don't buy any of his products anymore. I used to be an Xbox person, but I don't support Xbox and I won't. Bill Gates is he is the most dangerous man on this planet right now. And trust me, there's others that are dangerous as well.
I'd rather trust Elon Musk.
Yeah, but he is definitely the worst. Look at all you need to know is Elon Musk doesn't like this guy.
Yeah, right? For a reason.
That tells me everything I need to know. No matter what you say about Elon Musk, right?
He's a good judge of character.
This man, yes. But not only that, right? People might think his ideas are a bit out there and all of that. And people think he should use his money for different things or whatever. But without that man, some of the advances that we've made in technology, we wouldn't have. So, I mean, and he did actually, whether the launch was successful or not in the eyes of the public out there, the fact that he launched the biggest rocket that was ever seen, that was ever launched, that just goes to show you the ambition that this guy has.
How much did he get? Was it 15 terabytes of information he got from that launch?
Yeah.
That's worth millions.
People out there, the begrudgers say it was a failure because it never.
It was a successful failure.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. How do you think NASA got to where they were?
Oh, how many astronauts did they cook?
Yeah, how many? Yeah, the Russians did the same, but the USSR.
Oh yes, how many dogs did they use in space?
How many rockets did the United States lose either on the pad or flew up and disintegrated and stuff? Tons of them before they got it right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, just goes to show you what countries will do. Who built the rockets for the Americans?
Germany.
Yes,
the naughty Germans.
Yes, the bad Germans.
Werner von Braun. We all know that.
Yeah, right. So they forgave all his crimes.
Socialist. Yeah,
and let him basically. In fairness, though, he was a genius. I mean, I don't believe the Americans would be as advanced as they are now if it wasn't for his technology, German technology. That's the thing. It's German technology that they're all using.
Yeah.
And Russian. The Russians as well. I've been watching stuff about them as well.
Oh, let's not get into Russia. We've had enough heavy topics.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the space race. Very clever because
they never invented a nuclear bomb. They just stole it off the Americans.
Because here's the thing: while the Americans were concentrating on getting a man to the moon, they were sending probes to Venus and stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, what the USSR tried to do was bankrupt the United States with this fake space race. There was no space race. The the Russians or USSR or whatever you want to call them never had any intentions of landing a man on the moon. Never, because they knew they couldn't do it. So what they did is during the Cold War era, and I've only recently saw all the information on this, is they have sent up literally thousands of probes, and they actually tried to successfully launch and get a rover on Mars. Do you know that the Russians were actually the first ones to actually go to Mars? Nobody knew that, but they did, right? And they actually successfully, well, when I say successfully, they landed a probe on Mars, but unfortunately it crash landed on that planet.
Yeah, they crash landed.
But it was still the first probe from a country that went to Mars and ended up on the surface, even if it wasn't a success in the terms that they wanted to launch the rover. But they launched, it was something like 12 probes to Venus, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't get it right the first time, but they kept launching these probes to Venus until they eventually got it right. And the reason why we have photographs of Venus is because of the Russians. We wouldn't even know what that planet looks like if it wasn't for them. So the Russians, when it comes to probes and all of that, they were way ahead of the Americans.
Oh, yeah.
But America wanted to concentrate on landing a man on the moon, whereas the Russians never had any intentions of landing a man on the moon. That was all a cover. They wanted to bankrupt the United States, but obviously it never materialized. Obviously, communism never works. So the Russians, in the end, ended up bankrupting themselves.
Yeah.
Interesting, man. The space race, so-called space race, is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You look at all the things that went on, it was to get one up on each other, because they hated each. Well, they didn't see. That's the thing. I don't actually believe Americans and the Russian people hate each other, but obviously the governments do. I
was going to say the government did at that time.
The establishment definitely does, but both sides were dodgy. Both sides did dodgy stuff, and both sides lost astronauts in space. That's never been reported on until recently, when obviously we declassified. Because the Americans do eventually. Well, they declassify what they want. They don't always declassify what they say. I mean, we're still all waiting on the JFK papers. You remember Donald Trump said he was going to release them all, but then when he did release them, it was censored to high hell. So what was the point of bleeding putting them out? If you're gonna tell the people that you're gonna tell us what the JFK files entail, and then when you put them out, you censor everything. Well, then
more censored than a Bible affidavit, wasn't it?
And then they wonder why there's conspiracy theories. Well, the reason why there's a conspiracy theory is because you've blacked out all the sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still live. What's up? Yeah, is there anything?
I don't know.
Did you check?
There wasn't when I went down.
Right, well, I can't really help you out right now.
And unblock me.
Yes, no problem.
We live in the same fucking house.
I know, we live in the same house. That's why I blocked you. By the way, let me tell you something. I've worked my ass off for the last 5 years on YouTube, right? This one, right here. During the coronation, she was watching it on her computer and she was sending clips or something to her friend.
No, I was just recording it.
Or she was just recording for some weird reason because she's a weirdo.
The Anne feather in front of Harry.
Right? But yeah, she wanted, because Anne's feather hat was covering Harry, and she thought that was hilarious.
Oh, that was funny.
So she was filming that on her phone for some weird reason, but some glitchy thing happened.
Apparently, if you don't remove them on a regular basis, they stay. So this filter was still.
So this filter, yeah. So even though she wasn't using the filter somehow clicked on, and then everybody in the royal family that was sitting down at that place where all the blokes had red lipstick on them. Right? So she decides to put, she's on TikTok. So she decided to just put it on TikTok.
No,
so
clear. I didn't know that they had the makeup on when I posted it.
Yeah.
I was just posting it through
So
the
she
phone.
didn't even realize, apparently. Yeah. She didn't even realize what the video was like. So she threw the video up anyway, right? And she's on TikTok, but she follows her friends and her friends follow her. She wakes up the next day. Tell them how many views you've got on your TikTok video. And I've been working my arse off for 5 years. Just remember
As
this.
of right now,
Yeah.
209.5 thousand.
Oh my god!
Did you hear that?
That's good, Cheryl. That's very good.
Now this is the thing, right? She wasn't putting it up for any other reason. She didn't know the glitch was on it. She just wanted to show her friends as a laugh. And then when she wakes up, what was it? The first time 60,000 views or something, or what was it? 60?
Yeah, no, I woke up to like 80,000.
80,000, right? So she goes to me and my TikTok video got 80,000 views. And I just looked at her, just gave her a look, right? And then she comes out to me today. Oh, by the way, my video's gotten 286 whatever thousand. I'll go.
I'd have to check. I don't know. I made that up, but it's almost. I think it's almost 200,000.
200,000 views on a TikTok video.
Oh my god!
And the video is pointless, like, but because some glitchy filter that she uses came through on the video, and she didn't even know until she posted it. So, like, you know, I would just say to people out there, that's the thing. A lot of people on TikTok put up videos because they want them to go viral and stuff like that, because, you know, they want to become famous with TikTok.
It's only 209,000.
Oh, it's only 209,000. Still, 209,000 is probably the combined views of my whole fucking channel. No, but in fairness to her, you know, fair play. You know what I mean? She didn't do it for any other reason, but there are people out there that do try to become famous and they set up the videos. My advice is just do it naturally like she did.
Yeah.
Just throw up a video.
Yeah. To become a brand or an internet person.
That's what I mean.
I just entertain myself.
She just does it to enter. I mean, she's telling me these dad jokes.
Do you want to hear today's?
Oh, what's today's? Wait and you hear this one.
Hold on. I got to let her come back and tell you.
What was the one you told me a couple of weeks ago where I just said, "Get out of the room. I'm done with you now." What was that one?
Hold on.
It was so stupid. I was like, "You did not. No, just leave the room now. Just go." I can feel the intelligence of the room just dropping. IQs are dropping. She's coming out with all these dad jokes every day. She comes out with a new one, and now she's about to tell me this tonight's one. Yeah, Harry wasn't happy. No, he wasn't happy. But as I said, the filter. So if any of you are on TikTok, if you want to check it out and see how it happens. So she showed me, and I was looking at the video and said, "You got like 80,000 views because you got 80,000 views for that." I was like, "Oh my god, get away!" It just happens to some people.
No, never underestimate how much he's hated now in this country.
That's what.
But as much as James Corden, there we go.
That's what I think it was, and the fact that it was the coronation as well might have done it for her. But that is amazing. I have to say, like, I mean, I'm taking the piss. Obviously, like, I'm delighted for her, but the fact that she didn't even mean to do it, kind of like that's how it goes with some people, though.
I remember the one that sent you over the edge.
What was the one? What? Here's the dad joke now.
It was like a.
Oh, by the way, we're live on the channel.
It won't be as funny as. Did you want to hear my song that I wrote about tortillas?
No, do I want to hear you? No, I don't.
Oh, good, because it's really more of a rap.
Oh.
I mean, she cracks herself up, and I mean, it's not even that funny. So, do you want to hear a song about a tortilla? No, but it's more of a rap. I mean, it's so fucking stupid, but she's on the ground here. She's fucking at the look. Oh my god, I wish you could see. She's just laughing.
Cheryl, I love your laugh. It's so.
So is that a hard no on this? So hard to go away.
Yeah, that one was no, Cheryl. I said dad jokes are not good. That's why they're called dad jokes.
No, I meant this one.
I mean, that one was alright. No, not until we know. I don't know how we're gonna get in contact. So
Good night.
I'll let you know, right? Just in
Okay,
case.
good night.
Yeah, good night. Love you. She's off to bed now because she goes to bed early. I mean, it's weird. I find that weird, like, you know. But that's the way she's always been. She'll go in now and she'll watch. Oh no, she's listening to this Australian guy talk about murder stuff, and then she goes on to Sherlock Holmes audio of Sherlock Holmes because she has the audio books or something like that.
Yeah.
So she'll fall asleep.
There's a few audios, yeah, for
Yeah.
Sherlock.
So she'll fall asleep during a Sherlock audio. Maybe I should sleep with one eye open because you know what they say when you're asleep and you're listening to all of this stuff, you get ideas and stuff. So yeah, I fell asleep to Billy Connolly last night. That's who I was watching last night, and I couldn't even get asleep for ages because every time I tried to settle down, he told a joke and I just couldn't stop laughing. Oh, he is a legend. Well, he always was. I mean, I grew up watching Billy Connolly and all the great Irish comedians. And we really did love the Scottish comedians because, you know, Scotland and Ireland and stuff. We didn't really like the English ones, but there were a few English comedians that I love. But got to be honest, Billy, you know, Tommy Turner, I say is a great comedian.
He's funny,
right? But I think Billy Connolly is the best comedian that we've ever had because he wasn't really a comedian. He wasn't really like other comedians. He never had a script or wrote things down. He just went on the stage and hoped that he was funny and would tell stories, you know. And then, you know, some as he describes it, well, while he's on stage, something might pop into his head, and then that little voice in his head says, "Well, you've got to talk about this because if you don't talk about this, it's going to be gone in 2 seconds." So so his comedy is never refined. You'll notice with Billy, he'll talk about something and then he'll veer into something completely different because it's just like popping into his head. So he has to talk about it because he says if he doesn't, he forgets, and then he goes back to what he was. But that's what made him so good. He was on the fly all the time, and it was just, he's got some famous story. Let me tell you a story, right? And he start talking, and he'd be literally there. Seriously, last night I tried to go to sleep and said, I don't think I can actually watch this, man, and try sleep. I'm not getting any sleep here, right? Because I just kept laughing. And
yeah, you should never watch something funny before you try to go to bed. That's like the worst thing you could do.
So he's a legend, but I think he's the best comedian we've ever had. I'm not messing. And of course, you all know he retired because he's got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And he said he wouldn't let it define him. And I watched the ITV did a thing where what was it called? What was it called? I think it was Billy Connolly. It's been a pleasure, or something like that. It was an ITV1 documentary, and you had all the comedians coming on. You had Elton John come on and talk about him. Yeah, I didn't know this. Whoopi Goldberg gave him his first start in America. No, but listen to this. This is a great fucking story, right? So she went to, I think it was HBO, and she goes to them, I've got this comedian that I would like to be me supporting act, right? So HBO came back to her, or one of these places. It was either HBO or it was some other studio, but it doesn't matter, right? The story is this. She says, okay. They said, okay, you can do an hour and he can do 15 minutes because he was from Scotland. And, you know, at the time, even Whoopi says it in the interview, well, we didn't know if people would understand everything that he was saying, which would have been true back then, you know, because America was kind of, you know, they were closed off still at that stage.
They weren't used to British accents as much.
Exactly. They weren't used to Scottish accents as much.
That's why I said British accents.
Yeah. So, you know, the English during the 70s and the fucking 80s over in US were huge, man. Oh my God.
No, but that, well, I said British on purpose because, like you said, the English a certain type of English they could understand, but if you were Scottish, Irish, or another type of English,
no, you're right.
Accents,
Cockney or something. Cockney,
yeah.
Or Liverpoolian, or new from Newcastle. I mean, imagine. I mean, Cheryl Cole is the perfect example. Is the perfect example of that. I mean, she did Britain's Got Talent, and do you remember she was huge on that, or whatever the talent show she was on with?
X Factor.
Oh, X Factor. And do you remember then they brought her on the 4th season of X Factor in the States, and they literally got rid of her after, what was it? Wasn't he? I don't even think she lasted the whole season.
Yeah.
They replaced her because nobody could understand her accent.
Instead of what she said, yeah.
Nobody
like
could understand her.
Imagine sending John Bishop over there. Oh my God.
Yeah, of course we'd understand them easy, no problem. But for an American, it's just because they were kind of a closed off place. I know they were letting people in, but I mean, you know what I mean. They didn't really care what happened outside their country or what comedians were. So this is the story. So she goes. She goes. Okay, yeah. So she goes to Billy. She goes. So HBO says, I have to go on. I'm going to go on for an hour. You're going to do 15 minutes, but that's not what we're going to do. I'm going to do the 15 minutes, and then you're going to do the hour. So she came out. She did her little thing for 15 minutes, and then she introduced Billy, and he did his hour. And that was the moment that he made his break in America. Elton John also, and no rock and roll star did this at the time, but he got Elton to be the supporting act to him. So he brought him on, and he says, I know me fans and people would think this was weird, but I love Billy. I thought he was funny, and he deserved to get a chance to get out there in the world.
Yeah.
And again, he proved everybody he had his little doubts. He openly admits he had his doubts, but he was a success, and listen, he was being on Parkinson's, Parkinson for years. I mean, Parky loved him. He even did his special. But if you want to watch a special, it's on YouTube, and it's called An Audience with Billy Connolly, right? And you will see Carol Ann Ford there. You will see Peter Davison and his wife at the time. You will see what's her face. Famous actress that was in Buster, Julie Walters. You'll see all of these when they were younger, right? The audience, it's an audience with Billy, but was full of celebrities. Bob Geldof and Paula, whatever her name was that he was with. Paula, her. Don't like her. So,
she's not around anymore.
Well, I know that. It's our own fault. Anyway, no sympathy for her.
Fair enough.
No. She had kids, man. I don't. When it comes to drugs and kids and alcohol,
I didn't mind her on Big Breakfast, but
I'm sorry. I don't give anybody the time of day, especially kids. That's why I'll give Bob credit, right? It's the only credit that he gets. When she died, he took all the kids in. He could have very easily not, but he did, and he looked after those kids and he treated those kids.
Paulie Yates?
Paulie Yates.
Even
the kids that weren't his, he took on board. So I'll give him credit for that. He's a fucking idiot and everything else. But when it came to stepping up to being the dad that those kids needed, he was there for them. Listen, I don't have any drugs to a certain extent. It's affected. Look, I've had first-hand experience. I don't mean me, but family members that have gone through those addictions, right? And what it does to families and stuff like that. So, in some cases, especially where there's young kids, I don't really have too much sympathy. I've got to be honest. That's just the way I am. I don't believe you should be doing drugs around kids, full stop. End the story. I'm not being
really quickly. I need to go.
You have to go. You need to go. So we're going to finish up anyway. So do you want to do your shout outs anyway?
Yes, thank you very much. So tomorrow night, I'm back with the Spacebook Live. We're sort of doing our own, going through all the teasers.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know if it gone funny then, all the teasers and all the sort of clues that Doctor Who's been throwing out. Yeah. And then on Sunday, we possibly will be doing, if we get a proper trailer, we will see if we're getting a proper trailer and look at the proper trailer on Sunday night. So you'll catch me there. And obviously here on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Oh, I forgot the Eurovision's over. Isn't it? Over. Yeah, it's over the weekend now. It used to be one night, but now it's 4 fucking nights. Right, anyway, Queen Charlotte, thank you.
Night.
Night, Charlotte.
Anyway, I loved it when Craig Ferguson chatted with Billy Connolly, always entertaining. Yeah, I mean, look, he it didn't matter where he was, whether it was an interview or whether he's doing some of his stand-up. To me, he is the benchmark. I mean, Dustin Hoffman, he's friends with Dustin Hoffman as well, and Dustin Hoffman got very emotional. Actually, in that ITV documentary that I was telling you, actually, Sheridan Smith, she's also, because she did a movie with him, she gets very emotional. Ashlyn B, the Irish actress or the Irish comedian, she gets very emotional talking about him because, you know, to them, he was a hero. He was the guy that inspired them. Even Russell Brand, he was even, like, he said some lovely things about him. And Billy is watching them saying this on a computer screen. And you can tell his face just lights up. He inspired so many people. But for me, listen, I watched him growing up as a kid. But as a kid, a lot of these jokes would have went over me head. I mean, when kids are watching Billy, you're watching him for his actions that he used to do and stuff like that, right? Because he used to do a lot of funny movements and stuff when he was telling his stories. But as an adult, re-watching his comedy, he is an absolute genius.
Oh, yes,
the benchmark, in my opinion. There'll never be another Billy. He was a one-off. He's like, it's like with Robin Williams, right? The way his comedy was. There'll never be anybody like Robin Williams, just like there'll never be anybody like Billy. He was so unique. He's still alive. I'm talking about him as if he's dead. He's got Parkinson's, but that's a horrible disease, as we know.
Yeah.
And I don't think he does. You know, nobody deserves that. My grandfather had that as well, and I know what that's like. It's horrible. But to see him at on the documentary, it was nice, but you could see it was very emotional as well. But I'd recommend an audience with Billy Connolly. You should watch it. Has all those old English stars that you remember. I think a few of the lads from Duran Duran were there. A lot of pop stars were there. A lot of actors and actresses of the time were there. I even spotted Carol Ann Ford. As I said, Julie Walters and Peter Davison, Robbie Coltrane. Who else was there? There was Michael Parkinson was there because he did a lot of interviews with him, so he was there. Literally, these people had tears in the eyes. They were wiping away the tears in the eyes. The guy that was in Alien 3, the baldy fella, he was there. Yeah. It was weird seeing him because he must have been always baldy because he was even baldy.
Oh, he's always baldy. Yeah, he's always bald.
And I was like, oh my God.
He died a while ago.
I had to see him laughing because all I've ever seen him in is real serious roles. But when I was seeing him laughing in the audience, he was having a whale of a time with his missus. So there's a lot of celebrities there. Hold on, do you know what? I'm going to get it up. I'm going to get up the two things that I watched, right? And I'll put them in the chat for you.
I got a dash in a minute, so.
Yes, well, if you want to do your shout-outs now, well, I get these up, and then we'll
You're talking about Brian Glover. You're talking about Brian Glover, baldy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you can always find me over here. You can find me in Rabbi's chat, or sometimes you can find me on Dan's channel. But I want to give a shout to someone in the chat as well. I want to give a shout to Darren M and say hail to the best bloody mod I ever trained. Keep it up, buddy.
Well, we need more good mods out there because you know I don't want to get into Anton, but all I'll just say is that there's a lot. It's called Billy Connolly. It's been a pleasure, by the way, and I'm going to put that full documentary in. But I just want to say something though, without going into too much. I don't want to name names or Anton because you know it's not the time or the place. But I will say this: I have heard that there are people out there that are deliberately trying to stir stuff up again in other people's chats and stuff like that. And obviously the stuff going on with me, with Andrew on Twitter. I'm just gonna say this, right? You just need to cop on. Okay. At the end of the day, you're not always going to agree with people on here, right? Or online in general, right? But that doesn't give you the right to be a complete psychopath and harass and stalk people. It needs to stop. You've got to change your behavior, because it doesn't look good and you're affecting people. And I don't like to see my friends being affected, right? So, I don't know how many times you have to be told, but if you don't like anything that we have to say on here, or you don't agree with people, then just walk away. It's
don't learn to walk away.
At the end of the day, as I said, we're not always going to agree with each other. So you need to cop onto yourselves and stop bullying people, because it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of it.
In the end, you become the thing you hate.
Yes, and not only that. Remember, we've all been through a pandemic. We all lived through it. That pandemic did not do anybody's mental health any good, right? So why would you want to go around now and make that worse on people, right? So leave it out. Grow up is what I'd say. Just grow up. Because
I think the only channel I disagree with is probably Shadowversity, and that's because I'm trained in Japanese martial arts and I know better than he does. But I don't hate Shad for it. I just get a bit sick of listening to him talking absolute nonsense, if you know what I mean. I might comment in the chat, but I don't hate the guy. I mean, he's a friend of Gary's. I don't hate him. Okay.
Listen, at the end of the day,
people talking bollocks.
If people think I talk absolute rubbish, that's fine.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
But it doesn't give you the right to harass and abuse and to target me friends because you don't like me. And it's the same with me mods here that are on here. Just because they mod on my channel just because they mod on my channel doesn't necessarily mean that they agree with everything that I say or endorse anything that I say.
Mods on many channels
because they don't. Right, and I can tell you that even if my mods will be on here while I'm streaming, and they don't agree with something, they'll put up their own opinion.
Yeah,
right. They've got their own opinions, right, and that's the way it should be. And that's the thing. I have them as mods because I trust these people anyway, and I like them, and because as I said, I won't always agree with them.
Yeah.
All the time, but I do.
We don't always agree.
We do agree on certain topics, and that's why we've gotten friendly and these people have been working on the channel, and again, you know what I mean. These same people will defend me, but if they think that I've gone too far, trust me.
Yeah,
these people will be the same people that'll say, no, listen, I'll always have your back and all of that, but I think you've gone too far there, and nobody is afraid to say that to me. That's the thing, especially people that I know. But at the end of the day, we just get on with it here.
Yeah.
Everybody has their different opinions. There was even different opinions in the chat tonight. I'm not going telling me mods here, I want you to ban them because they don't agree with us. They don't agree with me, they don't agree with me.
Yeah.
Right. The difference is we're not abusing each other verbally or mentally.
We agree to disagree. We walk away.
That's it. We don't even walk away. We just move on, mate. We just move on to the next topic. We're not always going to agree on stuff. That's the beauty
Chris
of it.
Persia and I didn't agree on Star Trek Strange New Worlds originally, but we don't hate each other over it.
No. I mean, I still love that show. I mean, it was clobbering. I mean, Clobbering Times, for example. You know how he's very militant about Trek.
Yeah.
Right. And we were having a stream. We were talking about Picard. Do you remember? And he popped in to say hello, and we left a couple of comments.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't agree with what we were saying, but at the end of the day, I respected his opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's his opinion as a fan.
We
And if
didn't
he
ban him
doesn't
for
like,
the channel over it.
yeah, and if he doesn't like Kurtzman Trek, you know, and I'm not
Fair
saying
enough.
I like Kurtzman Trek, I like Terry's Trek.
Oh yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, we do have different opinions.
We don't all think
not,
alike.
But the thing about Clobber, and I will say this, he doesn't bash shows or stuff for the sake of it like other people do. He'll always come up with his explanation and he'll show why. And that's what I actually like about Clobby. So I don't, you know what I mean? Different fans in the fandom. If we always agreed, we would be boring individuals.
Yeah, exactly. Channels would be boring. Everything would be boring. Everything would be black and white. Boring.
this is one. And all I can tell you one thing: nobody will ever want to get Teddy angry. They won't like it when Ted is angry. I do like that quote from Incredible Hulk. It would be very boring if we all agreed. Exactly, disaster. Exactly. And that's the beauty of this, and that's what I said. And I shout out to Clobby, by the way, on his channel. And if you haven't checked out Clobby's channel, it really goes in depth in the topics that he talks about, and the streams do be very interesting. And that's what I like about his streams. It's, you know, and the people that he brings on as well, they're all very knowledgeable and they know their stuff. And you know, again, you know, they you know, come up with counter arguments and stuff, and that's the way it should always be.
Yeah.
But there's his channel there if you want to check him out. I haven't mentioned his channel in a while, and I wanted to bring it up tonight anyway. I knew we mentioned, because I should have brought it up earlier. I was going to bring it up earlier, but we bring it up now. But go and check out Clobby's channel. It's been a while since we had him on as well. We'll try organise that and get Clobby back on, and we'll get his opinions on.
Yeah, we know you hate it, Clobby. You don't have to shout in my ear.
So we'll get him on and give his opinion. No, because you know it's you know, you've heard people on this channel that have we've all agreed that Picard season 3 is a huge improvement, and it is good, and it should be. You know, there are other channels out there that do have counter arguments, so we should listen to them.
Yeah.
We should listen to them. We shouldn't ignore them because we don't agree with them either. Again, that's what I would say as well.
Thanks for the chat, Peter.
We've got Peter Davison in the chat. Hey, Noel, I'm starting a petition on Twitter on unfriendly nursing homes. Can you or the chat help just a little? No politics, no money. What you're asking us to do is to share the petition. Is that what it is? I mean, we can do that for you. Absolutely, 100%.
You have to get in touch with us on social media, though.
Because, you know, I agree with you. Because I think I told you this about my granddad in a nursing home. I mean, you know, and there was a nursing home scandal in Ireland. So, yeah, if you want to even put it in here, Peter, now.
I'm sorry for not recognizing the other day in the chat, Peter.
And then I'll
change everything.
What I'll do, he does that. There's a reason for that. So just if he tell you that it's him, right? So it will be him. Trust me. So if he does come up, because it does happen, I can't say why, but
no worries. I don't want to know the internet.
Yeah.
I don't recognize you sometimes, Pete, when you change your name or your avatar. You're just gonna have to take it. You know, it's just me being me.
That's it. But you'll figure it out in the end anyway.
Okay.
We'll always let you know that it's him.
Yeah,
and trust me, you'll know it's him because you know nobody knows.
The way he puts stuff, you know.
Yeah. So you'll know. But thanks for that. So you didn't have to give a super chat, but we really appreciate that 20 Australian dollar super chat, Peter. What I'll do is I'll just go in. Are you following me on Twitter?
Yeah. Anyway, no, I got to go.
You've got to go, dear. Well, you do that, PD. Do your shout outs first, and then you can go. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that petition in before we leave.
They're done. Don't worry about it. Anyway, chat. I love you and leave you, everyone. You stay safe. Take care.
Fantastic, Gobby. PD. I will talk to you again very soon, and thanks again for coming on. I really do appreciate you giving your time. Oh, he left. Oh, okay. Well, he would have heard me. let me see. Did you send me a message there? Hopefully that's you. Why is Rory Gallagher trending? Rory Gallagher is an Irish musician who, in my opinion, was the greatest guitarist in the world. Even the great Jimi Hendrix said, "Don't look at me." Because, everybody used to blow smoke up his backside and say he was the greatest guitarist. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't at all. Anyway, I do like Jimi Hendrix, but he wasn't the greatest guitarist in the world. Have you sent me a message? Because Tarzan, no worries, no. Catch you all later, chat, no problem. Peter, I don't see any. I'm just checking to see if you've tagged me on Twitter. You're gonna have to send it to me or tag it to me so I can get it out there for you. Oh, there you are. So you followed me. So we'll go into your account. You're gonna have to keep this account open though if you want people to vote in your petition, because as soon as you take your account down, the petition will disappear. So make sure you keep the account up. I have it here. So I'll put it in the chat for everybody. I'm about to sign it now. So what I'll do is I'll put it in here for people. So there's the petition there, folks. It's there has been a lot of stories about nursing homes and stuff like that. And if you've read into it, there are actually, I think, petitions in several countries because, we've seen the awful videos as well from the States where old people are getting beaten up. Right, I think it's done, is it? Hold on, I think there's one more bit of action. Right. Yes. Right, so I'm sharing it on Twitter as well, because when you sign it, they ask you. If you want to do a donation, folks, you can. As Peter says, it's not what he's doing the petition for. He just wants to get it out there that this is going on, and I think I do agree because there's been some cases in Ireland as well. And I do believe that these people that are looking after old, should be vetted and make sure that they behave properly around their older folk. And that's exactly the way it should be. So I did that. I shared it on Twitter. So why is it still coming up? I might have too many windows open. It's just... Well, I shared it on Twitter anyway, and I'm pretty sure I've signed it, but it's telling me... No, why? It's gone into a different fucking petition now. All right, you can. It gives you, I think, the option of signing if you want to sign other petitions as well. So it says see news on the petition you signed. So it has. I have signed it. So why isn't the third step coming up? It says 2 steps are done. I've already shared it on Twitter. So I don't know what else it wants me to do. I'm confused now. This petition does not have any. Right. I don't know what's going on, but it says I signed it. Anyway, it's there if you just want to. Yeah, what's going on here? I didn't write this message up. I didn't write that. I did not write that. Where is that? I'm going to have to check something here. That petition is secure, yeah? From change.org. That's secure, isn't it? Because that's I didn't write that. I put up the link which is above it. But I didn't write Twitter. I didn't write that. Twitter. I didn't write that. I did not write that. Go to channel. That's weird. So it's a link to my channel. This message. I didn't write. I put the link up. There's the link, right? That's the link I threw up. And then this here. This. I did not write that. But it's sending me back to a link. I don't know if that's because it changed.org. That's why I'm asking you. Is that petition secure? I don't really like signing petitions, but I support what you're doing. That's why I wanted to sign it. But I never trust all of these sites because that I did not write that. So I don't know what that is. But it's going back. I've went in, go to YouTube channel, and it's bringing me to my YouTube channel. So it had to be them because I did not write that. And everybody knows that I wouldn't write that anyway. I don't go equal Twitter. I don't do that unless that's what's coming up on Yoke when you sign it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've already changed my passwords, so I should be okay. But that's unusual. It's unusual. Anyway, the petition is signed anyway, and I've shared it with people, so hopefully people will share it too. So yeah, so we're back tomorrow for a member stream, of course. We got the preview of Friday night contact, and just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about, I am going to be focusing on Beetlejuice 2 because it's happening. It's official now and confirmed. and we will be talking about the castings. As you know, I'll be talking about a couple of topics that and giving you my opinion on them. We're also going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. Apparently, it's going to be the most expensive game of all time. And we're going to be talking about that as well. Remember, I cherry pick some of the topics here, and then we do all the topics on the main stream, which is on Friday. And I also want to talk about Spy Kids. Robert Rodriguez, who did the original, is rebooting the movie franchise with Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez, and it will likely release in late 2023. And I want to talk about Spy Kids because as a franchise, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So why you want to reboot this again is beyond me, but that's what I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Beetlejuice 2. As I said, some of the casting decisions that have been made, and it's official now, it is happening. And we're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, the most expensive game that has the most expensive game that's going to be released. And could you do a space stream at some time? Yeah, I have been doing Twitter streams. So if you follow me on Twitter, I've actually put up a couple of streams on Twitter where they're just exclusively on Twitter, because we're talking about topics that you can't really talk about on YouTube. But if there's a particular topic that you want me to cover in this space as well, let me know what it is, and if I actually know anything about it, I will cover it. If not, what I'll have to do is I'll have to go and do a little bit of research on it before I talk about, because as you know, I won't talk about anything that I don't know really much about. I'm not like, I can't, that'd be, that's why we have the other two lads on as well, because there'll be topics that we cover that I don't necessarily, but those lads might have an input on. So that's why we do what we do. So yeah, let me know. So that's what's happening on Friday night. But of course, Friday, we have the Tarda Zone Talks, where we will be discussing, obviously, the latest photographs with Christian. And obviously, hopefully, he knows about this teaser. And if he does, we'll be discussing that. And I will put the teaser up with no volume, and we will do what we did with the last one, because it worked. Whereas we won't have any sound, but we'll slowly go backwards, because it's another one where you have to play it backwards, I noticed. And we're going to play it backwards, and we're going to see any of the images and the visuals that come through, and we're going to discuss that. So that's what's going to be happening on Friday, and that's at 5:45 normally. Come and join me. Now, I might be guesting actually on a channel this Friday. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but we are talking at the moment. But I'll let you know tomorrow more details on what the channel is. Obviously, the members will know before you guys. But what I will do is I'll put up a little video maybe tomorrow just to let you know what channel I'm actually on. Or I'll tell you, Jordan, the Tarda Zone Talks, if that's happening. And if it is, then I'll tell you what the channel is. But yeah, I've been invited on a channel. As you know, channel invites are very rare. So yeah, hopefully I'll be streaming on someone else's channel. Well, when I say they're very rare, it is this Friday. Grand. So I'll just let them know. So it's pop culture. It's pop culture minefield is the channel, isn't it? I think, yeah. Pop culture minefield. So they want to bring me on, talk about Doctor Who and the latest and the state of Doctor Who. And I suppose, I'll be able to probably give his audience an insight of what's hopefully going on with Doctor Who and understand all the little things that are going on within the fandom and all of that. Take the offer if going on. Oh, I am. I said yes. Of course I'm going to go on. It's an opportunity for me to inform his audience on the state of Doctor Who and why it's, in the state that it's in. And, it exposes my channel to his audience, and that can only be a good thing, so yeah. And then obviously we'll have him on in return, because that's what I do. I like to return the favor, even though that's not why people invite other people on, but I will return the favor, as you know, and we'll get them on at some stage as well. But it's nice, I have to be honest, it's nice when you do get invited on. As I said, it's very rare. I mean, Dan from the Spacebook has invited me on a few times. I did show up one time, and I didn't show up another time because I was actually not well, and I was asleep. This was a time where I was sleeping during the day. To be quite honest, I'm getting up at bleeding 9-10 o'clock every morning now. It's weird. I've clicked in, like, for some weird reason now, my sleeping pattern's gone back to normal, which is good, because it was kind of out of sync for a long time. But yeah, Dan, in fairness to him, and the Spacebook have invited me on a good few times as well, as I said, and then there's others out there that have invited me on but never actually gone through with it. So, it happens. So, yeah, I look forward to it. So, Pop Culture Minefield, he does be in the chat sometimes, as you know. So, yeah, go and check the channel out, and we'll be there on Friday. In between, so obviously, the TARDIS Zone talks, we start at 5:45. We'll be finished and all before 6, because before 7, because as you know, it's less than an hour, that stream. So then it'll be between that time, 7 and 9, because I stream again at 9 on my channel. So in between that, I'm going to be streaming on that channel. So I have 3 streams on Friday. So yeah, I'll give you more details on that stream on Friday, and I'll let you know. And hopefully they're here so they can put the link in the chat, or I'll send them a message to tell them to come in and put the link in the chat, so you can all come over and listen. And subscribe as well, folks. Support a fellow content creator out there. Anyway. He really is a sad little individual. We'll take a photograph of that, because, he'll delete this. But and Andrew Jones is at again. So I've blocked his latest account, but he's not happy because I blocked his latest account. So now he's attacking. Well, now he's sending me messages, private messages this time, on Twitter to try get me attention. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I do with every other account of his: block. He really is a sad little individual. Elon Musk won't do anything about it. I mean, if I showed everybody, he's been harassing me since 2019. 2019. Right? I showed it last night on the street. That's what I was saying to Disaster Area. I did an expose of him last night where I showed all the blocked accounts, and I showed an account and tweets part of these accounts, and one account he set up back in 2019. Right? So he's been at it since 2019. It's now 2023, folks. That's 4 years. And I think it's even a little bit longer than that, because he used to harass me on YouTube first. And to prove it, I actually came across a message, not a message, sorry, a message is wrong, a comment that he left on a video or a stream I was either part of or I was leaving a comment on. And before we leave, you know, because we got a bigger audience. Now, this is public. There's nothing he can do about this because he put this out in the public. But you're going to see what he said to me, right? Because I've warned this guy over and over again. It's literally going to get to the point where I might have to go to Wales, go to the local police force, because I know where he lives, by the way, because, you know, he thinks nothing. See, I think he's getting a bit cocky now. He thinks that nothing will actually happen to him, law-wise, I mean, because he's openly telling me where he lives and the area he lives in, right? And the thing about it is, I've checked it up. What he doesn't know, I actually did say to him on a Twitter, a tweet that I put out. I mean, I found some of his family members on Facebook, but he still wants to mess with me. Now, I don't know if it is a good idea to go to his family and tell him what he's up to, because I don't know. I mean, how could they not know what he's doing when he's been doing it for over 4 years? And remember, 4 years with me, right? Apparently, he before me, it was Gary from Neurotics that he was after, right? And other people a few years before me. So he's at this a long time. He's at this a long time, right? So I'm going to show you now. Oh, someone just blocked me because they went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't even say anything about the movie, but they put a photograph up of one of these AMC theaters, right? And I noticed that there was cracks in the wall, the paint was yolk, and the seats looked very uncut. And I just made an observation. I says, that looks like a crap place to have a movie. There's cracks in the wall and blah, 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 blah. They obviously didn't like what I had to say because they blocked me. Oh, and there's a couple of other people who didn't like the fact that I called them out because they supported that Irish band that represented us in the Eurovision. I mean, if you're going to represent people that got rid of a bloke because they misgendered someone who happened to be a rapist, well, that makes you, sorry, in my eyes, you know, by proxy, then you support it. And I think that's disgusting. Anyway, where is this? Just bear with me for a second, because I want to leave with this, because I want to show you, because people need to understand, because people keep saying, no, why don't you just block them, right? That's why I did the video on Twitter, this live stream on Twitter, right? Because I wanted to show people the amount of accounts of his that I had to block. Blocking this guy doesn't work, right? Even ignoring this guy doesn't work. Because if you don't respond to him, what he tends to do then go after people that you know, right? And he picks on the vulnerable. And I won't mention names because I don't want them going after those people. He picks on vulnerable people, right? And then he knows there's going to be a reaction, right? So we've tried everything. We've tagged Twitter safety, Twitter support. We've had several of his accounts suspended. Yeah? But still, he's able. And I showed some of the accounts that I showed were dormant, by the way, folks. If he still remembers the passwords to them, he can access those accounts even after being suspended. And I think exactly that's what's happening. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with this. And this was when he was on YouTube. Right? And this is what he said to me right? Now, this guy says he's a victim, right? This guy also, when Sophia Miles put up a tweet, asked how everybody was. He said he was horny, right? He also called Jodie Whittaker after defending her. Then he comes out and calls her, see you next Tuesday, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, he definitely is, PD, what you said up there. There's definitely something mentally wrong. And it needs, and someone needs to help this guy. But I'm going to show you, hopefully, because Twitter again. Thanks, Elon. So, yeah, someone gave me a shout out. And as you can see, it's that old that it's the very first thumbnail that I had for the channel, right? Okay, it was black and white, and I put me own little letters up on it, and it was the TARDIS Zone, right? And someone was giving me a shout out, so because I sent a shout out to me, right? Now, is that still on screen? Please tell me that's still on screen. Yes, it is. Well, I'm going to big screen this because you need to actually see this, right? This is what he said to me a few years ago. Now, this is the same guy that a few weeks ago called me the fat freak, right? So these are all saying ignore him, right? I tried that, right? Many people in this fandom, I have to stop sharing for a minute because there's something going on with me Twitter. So just wait for a minute. See, now it goes all normal as I actually removed it from the... See, me Twitter is gone again. Elon! It doesn't do that on my phone. Elon, you need to fix your shit, man. Anyway. And I remember when he sent this to me, because this is when I did the video. I know it was. I did a video on the whole when the trans issue started to become an issue. And I made the point that, well, you know, if you're an adult and you want to be trans, good luck. But I don't think adults should be telling children that they can transition and stuff like that. So I came out and I set me stall and I told everybody where I stood on the trans issue, right? And it's still the same. If you're a grown-ass adult, do what you want. As far as I've always said, and I stick with this, and this is why I get called transphobic, I don't think it is. I think I'm being reasonable. I don't think that ideology should be taught to kids, and I don't think you should be telling kids that they might be born in the wrong body, because what the hell do kids know, right? That's always been my issue with it. That's it. Nothing else, right? If you want to call yourself a woman, knock yourself out, but don't force us to call you whatever, right? I'll respect you if you respect me, right? Simple as that. And that's the way I've always been. So he wrote this at the TARDIS Zone official YouTube channel. Shut up, you transphobic sicko. You should not have any friends with views like yours, sicko. Hope you die soon and leave my family in peace, sicko. You're with your, and I think he meant to say wife there. Your wit is a sicko as well. So he was supposed to say my wife is a sicko as well. And he sent this a few years back. So I'll read that again. Shut up, you transphobic sicko. You should not have any friends with views like yours, sicko. Hope you die soon. Hope you die soon and leave my family in peace, sicko. Your wife is a sicko as well. I'm not even anywhere near his family. Right? Keeps going around and telling everybody that he has a gay trans uncle. Right? And then when I thought about it, I was like, no, there's something fishy here. So when I called him out on it, now he's dropped the gay part, and now he has a trans uncle. The guy is making a mockery out of trans people, by the way, because I do not believe for 1 second that he does. Then when I asked him to prove it, because I don't believe him, he sent me some broken link on Facebook, says, my parents that, the reason why you can't see it is because my family members don't like it and hate you and they've blocked you. Your family members don't even know who I am. So what are you lying yet again for? Right? So that's what he said to me, right? He's called me wife, as I said, what I told you. He's called Jodie Whittaker that name, and he went to Sophia Miles and made her feel uncomfortable by saying he was horny after she asked how everybody was. And this is a guy that apparently has an issue with me because I said that, because I have an issue with transgender ideology in kids, and that's it, right? I don't fully understand it. I don't think anybody does, right? But at the end, Dave, you're grown adult. You're grown adult. You can do whatever you want. I know there's militant people out there that say, well, even if they are adults, their lives are being ruined. But they're adults. They've made that decision. That's, what can we do about it? But with kids, we can certainly speak up. And because I've decided to speak up, or I spoke up, and that's why I stopped speaking about it for a very long time. Because this little nutcase and everybody else was on me back about it. But now I don't give a crap. And now you know I openly talk about it, right? On Twitter mostly, right? But I do talk about it. I'm not staying silent anymore. At the end, as I said, you're an adult, do what you want, right? Leave our kids alone. Simple as that. Pink Floyd said it. Hey, teacher, leave our kids alone. And that's true. That song is very relevant today. Okay? So he has an issue with me, and somehow he's got into his head because I have an issue with transgender in kids. Somehow I hate his uncle because his uncle is trans, apparently, but was gay trans uncle. But now he's changed that, dropped the gay, and now it's just trans uncle. But he's a liar. He's a liar because he claimed a few years back as well that pretended to be. Sorry, I'll rephrase. He pretended to be his uncle, sending me an email because I did an expose video on him, and his uncle wanted me to take down the video. Now, I ended up taking down the video, not because, and I knew he was lying about the uncle, but the reason why I took down the video is because I thought, you know what, he does obviously have issues. I don't really want to add to it, but what he's doing now is he's look, he's not affecting me, right? He'll never get under my skin again. I mean, he never has. He hasn't. And he never will, right? But this guy is picking on everybody and people that we know, not just me. And he's going after other people. And he keeps at it. And I mean, he's breaking Twitter's terms and services anyway. Because it says in one of the rules, if you're sending repetitive replies and you're just atting people for the sake of atting people, then you're breaking Twitter's term. And that's exactly what he's doing. But he seems to pop up. He's like a weed, right? You get rid of one account and another one pops up. So that's why I wanted to do that expose stream. And if you haven't watched it, it's on Twitter now. What I'm going to do is I advise you to watch it, right? You will see the amount of accounts that he has, right? And I'm telling you no joke, right? The accounts that I just showed on this account, because my backup account, he tried the same thing, but that's why I have that account locked. So I don't get those repetitive things. But 202 viewers on this. It had 776 views. So that's how many saw the tweet. See, this is why I'm honest, by the way. I'm not like these idiots on social media that say, oh, Tucker Carlson is back and he got 30 million views on his stream. Oh, he made a show of the media. No, he got 5.8 million the last time I checked. But it was viewed over the millions that you claimed it was viewed. But it's viewed, the people that actually sit and watch your actual whole stream. And there you go, 776 views, right? But only 200 and 2 people actually sat down and watched. But that's one of my biggest. Well, I did another one that got 400 on here, but that's my biggest one talking about. So here it is here, right? I've already got the link, as you can see, it's blue there. I'm about to put it in the main chat for you is all there now, so you can there you go. So if you want to, I would advise you, if you're being harassed by this guy, to watch this, because I expose all the accounts that he has. Now, the funny thing, I'm going to say this, some of the accounts that I featured were suspended, and we all got notifications they were suspended. But do you remember when Elon unsuspended all the accounts? Well, they unsuspended all of his accounts. So that's how he still has this. So you're going to have to keep blocking them, but I expose all of the accounts that he has there. So if you want to know what this guy is all about, and you want to protect yourself, you will see all the accounts. I've put them all up on screen, one by one. We searched them. I did them one by one. I showed tweets on some just to show you who he was tagging, and all the accounts all match up, because the same people he was attacking, calling transphobic freak. This is his new thing now. You're a transphobic freak. I'm not a transphobic freak, but here's the thing, mate. You wouldn't say it to me face, okay? And I know for a fact you wouldn't say it to me face, because at the end of the day, all you are is just a mouth, okay? But you're a mouth that's doing a lot of damage. And I told you that if you mentioned my name again, I gave you a warning on Twitter a few weeks back, and I said, just keep my name out of your mouth and we won't have an issue. Right? You go and focus on your thing and I'll focus on my thing. But I says, the next time you mention my name, I'm going to do an expose on you. And that's exactly what I did. Right? I told you not to come at me. You can't help yourself. So I did an expose on you. And just to let you know, all of those awful tweets that I talked about, I have all of those. And people that we know have all of those. And if you keep up doing what you're doing, because you've done it again tonight, I'm going to expose those, and I'm going to show people what you're like. Right? All I showed was the nonsense that you throw at everybody. But I haven't shown the real horrific stuff that you've said. And you've said some disgusting things on Twitter and on YouTube. And people have screenshots and have receipts. And I do too. So remember when I said that, you know, if this continues, I might take a trip to Wales and give them my computer and show them everything that I've got on you. That's exactly what I'll do, and you will be arrested. Because the disgusting stuff that you've aimed even towards actors and actresses will get you into trouble alone. If they're not willing to do anything about it, well, I certainly can do something about it. So you had your final chance. But I do agree with you. Disaster area. I think it's an obsession at this stage. I think he can't live without it. And unless, as I made the suggestion, that's why we tagged Elon, Twitter safety and Twitter support. The only way that we're going to get rid of this guy from Twitter, at least Twitter anyway, is for Elon to ban his IP address. Now, Instagram has something in place like that. So maybe Twitter should look into that. And that's the only way you're going to get rid of people like him. Remember, there's thousands of people like him on social media that's only mission and goal in life is to harass and troll and bully. Remember that famous case of the nurse? Was it the nurse that delivered one of Kate's children or something like that? And the Australian radio presenters played a prank on her and stuff. And she ended, I mean, you know, it goes too far. It goes too far. But just to make it clear, Chris and all will back me up on this because he's on Twitter, right? I don't mention this guy, right? I don't bring him up until obviously he starts attacking and doing whatever. But we have tried to ignore him, right? Every time I blocked him, I let people know that he's blocked and tell them to block the accounts as well. We've blocked him. Blocking him doesn't work. Ignoring him doesn't work. Responding to him doesn't work. Nothing seems to work with this guy. The one thing I will say is that being whatever he is, troll or whatever it is, or he can't help himself or whatever, but it's something he just won't stop. So the only way that he is going to be stopped is if Elon stops him. And that's what I said. I'm going to make it my mission and my goal to make sure that he's removed off this platform permanently, because I told him not to come and mess with me or mention me or to slag me wife off again. And that's exactly what he did. And you know what? I'm going to be ruthless. I'm not going to forgive this. I'm not going to, accept any apologies from you. It's done. You wanted this. This is exactly what you got, right? You wanted the attention. You've got the attention, but it's not the attention that you think you're going to get. There's only going to be one winner in this, and you're listening to him. Okay? You are not going to win this. You are going to be removed from Twitter. I'm going to make it my personal goal that you're removed. You're nothing but an absolute pest, a bully, a harasser, right? And it's not just to me you've done it to. You've done it to several other people that we know on this platform. And I am done playing games with you. So I told you, if you mentioned me or my wife again, that it was on. And it's on. It's on. You sending me private messages now? No. That's not how this goes down, Andrew. So I will use every legal avenue to my disposal that I need to have you removed to make people's lives a bit better on social media. Because, there's already enough crap going on in the world than having a little pest like you who has an obsession with me and others in this fandom because you don't agree with us. I don't care if you don't agree with me. Don't care if you think I'm transphobic. I've told you already, leave me alone. Leave my name out of your mouth, and especially me wife. But you couldn't help yourself. So it's on. Don't send me any more private messages either. I've blocked you anyway. Don't even attempt to send me any more private messages on any other account that you have. Anyway, we'll leave it there because I've focused too much time on them. I like to keep that on Twitter mostly. So yeah, we'll do a follow-up on Twitter because, as I said, I'm not going to stop until I get Elon's attention or someone from Twitter his attention until this is sorted out because it's gone on too long. And the only way that I can get a criminal conviction, if there even is one, right, I can prove that he has all of these accounts and stuff and he is sending me unwanted messages and stuff like that. But what action the law can take, I do not know. But I'd literally have to fly over to Wales to find out. So, I'm getting to that point. You know what I mean? He doesn't realise that I'm actually getting to that point, and he doesn't want me going into a police station in Wales because then it gets real. And your family won't protect you, by the way, because I'll show them everything that you've sent and the fact that you wished me dead and you've said horrible things about my wife. And if your family are anyway nice, well, they will not actually like what you're being doing on social media. Maybe I should get in contact with one of your family members that I found and actually just send them all the screenshots and say, here, this is what your nephew or your son, Andrew, is doing on social media. And I'm actually on the verge of going to the police, so you need to have a word. Maybe I should screw you up with your family and tell them what you're actually up to. Exactly. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because we went way over time. I don't normally do 4-hour streams anymore, but I'm glad you all joined us. I have to say I want to thank Rabbi, PD, Queen Charlotte that came on. Those guys made the stream today. And I have to say this is probably one of the best streams that I've had in a while. I have to say, you have your favorites, but this is definitely up there as one of my favorites. So thank you to the guys that joined us. I want to thank the 10 people that stuck around to the end of this stream as well. A special shout out to Chris Persia as well, our head mod. Thank you for that. I thought PD was already a mod. We're going to have to change that now as well. I thought you were already a mod, so we're going to change that. So yeah, I want to thank all my mods for keeping the chat safe and all that for everybody, and to everybody that contributed. And yeah, you can sign that Peter Davison petition. We'd be really grateful for that. And again, Peter, thank you for that super chat. Really do appreciate it. But we will talk to you tomorrow on the member stream. So if you're a member, we will have a member stream tomorrow. And we will be previewing some of those articles, as I said. And then on Friday, Tardazone Talks, and then the big one with the lads, Friday Night Contact, 9 o'clock. And as I said, in between that, I will be streaming on another channel, Pop Culture Minefield. So if you want to, I will remind you, by the way, when we're on the Tardazone Talks, and we will put the link in. But come and join us there, where I'm going to be talking they want to bring me on to talk about Doctor Who, so that's what we're going to do. So Darren, PD, Disaster Area, everybody else, Chris, PD, Peter, and everybody else that joined the stream today, I thank you. I really appreciate it. And Darren as well. So thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry we went a bit over time, but I'm pretty sure you don't mind that. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Channels put back in by PD again because he's a ledge. So there you go. If you want to check it out, he says, "Oh yeah, I am." All right. Oh, I know what the difference is. Yeah, yous are mods. The thing is that Chris is actually a member, and that's why his name comes up green. I forgot that there was a difference. If you're a member, your name comes up green, and there's a circle beside it. I got a bit confused there. I was like, why isn't PD a mod? Because I'm on StreamYard. That's why I couldn't see it properly. But there you go. Yeah, that's me summed up in one there, isn't it? Anyway. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks. Night, night. Stay safe and look after yourselves. And I'll catch you for the next one.